terkait dengan perempuan secara
takut
khusus.
lupa.
Oke, let's
Catatan tentang kiprah ulama perempuan dalam sejarah perkembangan Islam di Indonesia teramat kecil akibat konstruksi sejarah yang sepihak. Kehadiran dan peran penting ulama perempuan jarang sekali ditulis secara seimbang dan proporsional. Dalam kesadaran kebanyakan orang, kata ulama juga selalu dikonotasikan kepada laki-laki. Perempuan tidak menjadi bagian dari ulama. Inilah konstruksi yang sudah terbangun melalui berbagai institusi sosial keagamaan. Wajar saja bila dalam struktur institusi-institusi tersebut jarang ditemukan perempuan. Jikapun ada, sedikit sekali dan tidak signifikan. Apakah memang dalam kenyataannya tidak ada ulama perempuan? Ulama perempuan ada. Jumlahnya bahkan berlimpah. Di pesantren-pesantren selalu terdapat ulama perempuan yang setiap hari mengajari Al-Quran, mengajarkan kitab kuning, menjadi imam sholat, memberikan nasihat kepada masyarakat, dan juga aktif dalam kegiatan sosial kemasyarakatan. Demikian juga di perguruan tinggi Islam, dosen-dosen, peneliti, dan profesor perempuan jumlahnya sangat banyak, hampir seimbang dengan jumlah laki-laki. Belum lagi ulama perempuan yang memimpin majelis taklim, sungguh sangat menjamur. Sejarah Nusantara juga membuktikan di Banjarmasin ada Fatimah Al-Banjari, penulis asli kitab Parkunan Jamaluddin yang menggali kearifan lokal harta gono kini. Sulawesi Selatan memiliki Aisyah Weteriole 1919 yang berhasil menggali dan mengumpulkan manuskrip Lagaligo. Di Sumatera Barat terdapat Rahma Indonesia 1900 sampai 1969, pendiri sekolah dinia putri di Padang Panjang dan mendapatkan gelar Saikhah pertama dari Universitas Al-Azhar Kairo. Kita juga punya Profesor Dr. Haja Zakiah Darajat 1929 sampai 2013 yang menulis banyak buku, pernah jadi direktur pasca sarjana dan direktur perguruan tinggi agama Islam di Kemenak. Dari Jombang ada Nyai Hoiriyah Hashim, ulama perempuan Nahdlatul Ulama, ahli manajemen pendidikan, sehingga mendirikan dan mengajar madrasah Libanat di Makkah Al-Mukarramah. Di Jogja Nyai Siti Walidah Ahmad Dahlan 1872 sampai 1946, tokoh Muhammadiyah, penggagas Sopo Tresno yang kemudian menjadi Aisyah. Dari dalam gerak Aceh ada Tengku Fakina 1856 sampai 1938. Ulama besar wilayah Mekah cukup lama dan pulang menjadi panglima perang melawan penjajah dan mendirikan pesantren di mana ratusan santri belajar kepadanya. Untuk menegaskan eksistensi ulama perempuan Indonesia diperlukan segala upaya kultural dan struktural. Atas dasar itu lahir gagasan untuk menyelenggarakan Kongres Ulama Perempuan Indonesia. Kongres ini merupakan sebuah perjumpaan lebih dari 500 ulama perempuan dari berbagai daerah di Indonesia. Pulau Jawa, Sumatera, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, Maluku, Nusa Tenggara, Papua misalnya. Dan beberapa negara, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nigeria, Malaysia misalnya, yang digelar pada 25 sampai 27 April 2017 di Pondok Pesantren Kebon Jambu, Babagan Ciwaringin, Cirebon. Mereka telah mempertegas peran, memperluas pengakuan, membangun pengetahuan, saling belajar dari pengalaman, sekaligus menumbuhkan nilai keislaman, kebangsaan, dan kemanusiaan. Kongres ini telah mendefinisikan istilah ulama perempuan sebagai orang-orang yang berilmu mendalam, baik perempuan maupun laki-laki, yang memiliki rasa takut kepada Allah, berintegritas, berkepribadian mulia, akhlak karimah, menegakkan keadilan, dan memberikan kemaslahatan pada semesta, rahmatan lil alamin. Kata perempuan dalam kata majmuk ulama perempuan bukan jenis kelamin, tetapi penegasan perspektif pentingnya pelibatan perempuan sebagai subjek dan menerima manfaat dari dan dalam seluruh kiprah keulamaan. Dalam kiprah keulamaan, perspektif perempuan bertakwa kepada Allah tidak hanya untuk urusan kemanusiaan secara umum, tapi juga dalam bersikap pada perempuan secara khusus. Tidak juga hanya dalam urusan publik, tetapi juga dalam urusan keluarga. Begitupun berakhlak mulia, menegakkan keadilan dan memberikan kemaslahatan, tidak hanya dalam hal-hal yang menyangkut kemanusiaan secara umum, tetapi juga dalam hal yang hanya terkait dengan perempuan secara khusus. Hingga tercipta relasi kesalingan yang harmonis antara laki-laki dan perempuan, dan tanpa kekerasan dalam rangka mewujudkan cita-cita ketuhanan yang Maha Esa dan kemanusiaan yang adil dan beradab. Sebagaimana ulama laki-laki, ulama perempuan bertanggung jawab melaksanakan amanah kenabian untuk menghapus segala bentuk kezaliman sesama makhluk atas dasar apapun, termasuk agama, ras, bangsa, golongan, dan jenis kelamin. Sebagai pengemban tanggung jawab ini, ulama perempuan berhak menafsirkan teks-teks Islam, melahirkan dan menyebarluaskan pandangan-pandangan keagamaan yang relevan. Sebagai bagian dari bangsa Indonesia, ulama perempuan memiliki hak dan kewajiban untuk mewujudkan cita-cita berbangsa dan bernegara, sebagaimana dinyatakan dalam Konstitusi Republik Indonesia pada kehidupan pribadi, keluarga, masyarakat, negara, dan dunia. Bangkitlah ulama perempuan Indonesia.
Indonesia, sebuah bangsa yang terdiri dari berbagai budaya, agama, dan suku bangsa. Sejak era Nusantara hingga negara kesatuan, masyarakat hidup harmonis dalam kebinekaan. Meski berbeda-beda, tapi saling menjaga persaudaraan, menjunjung tinggi nilai toleransi, saling merawat perdamaian dan persatuan. Namun kita juga harus selalu waspada bahwa ada berbagai tantangan dan ancaman yang potensi mengoyak persaudaraan, persatuan, dan juga kedamaian yang senantiasa mengintai kita setiap saat. Di tengah berbagai tantangan dan ancaman, kita patut bersyukur bahwa perempuan Indonesia terbukti mampu melakukan rekonsiliasi, mampu mengolah budaya lokal untuk menciptakan perdamaian, mampu mendorong perdamaian dengan masyarakatnya, dan mampu membawa perubahan dalam keluarganya. Untuk itulah AMAN Indonesia hadir. Kami percaya bahwa bekerja dengan perempuan lintas iman akan mendatangkan kami dengan narasi kehidupan Kami sangat yakin dengan memperkuat kepemimpinan perempuan akan memperkuat kepemimpinan di keluarga dan komunitas. Perempuan Indonesia secara ideal merupakan bawa misi damai, mengenali dan mempromosikan peran perempuan, berharap mengungkapkan dan membuat persaudaraan persatuan dan perdamaian Indonesia. Di bawah cita-cita besar untuk menciptakan budaya agama yang anti kekerasan dan keadilan gender, AMAN Indonesia melakukan 4 strategi penting untuk mewujudkannya. Kami memfasilitasi semua kepemimpinan perempuan dan organisasi untuk mendorong daya lenting dan daya tangkal masyarakat dari konflik dan pengaruh radikalisme, dan juga untuk mendorong lintas aktor bekerjasama untuk menjadi kohesi sosial. Kami membangun simpul gerakan dari berbagai kelompok dan organisasi independen untuk membela hak asasi manusia dan perempuan, penguatan toleransi dan perdamaian, serta pencegahan kekerasan berbasis ekstremisme. Mulai dari tingkat daerah, nasional hingga regional, kami melakukan advokasi mulai dari tingkat lokal, nasional, internasional dalam menyelesaikan berbagai kasus kekerasan seksual, kekerasan berbasis gender dan agama, menjadikan pembelajaran dari masyarakat harus sebagai bahan informasi, pengetahuan dan diplomasi yang dapat menyatukan berbagai hal. Kami juga memproduksi dan melibatkan kembali penafsiran dan praktik keagamaan dengan perspektif pembelahan terhadap hak-hak perempuan, individu maupun berbagai kelompok yang mengalami berbagai bentuk kekerasan. Sejak Maret tahun 2007, AMAN Indonesia telah bekerja di berbagai wilayah dan bekerja dengan berbagai pihak untuk menjadi rumah bersama, membumikan Islam rahmatan lil alamin.
صلي وسلم دائما على أحمد Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin our international webinar shortly. For your information, this webinar will conduct mostly in English. So for those of you who need translation services, the organizer provides translation into Indonesia and English. You may find the globe icon, the interpretation icon, and choose your respective language. The organizer also provides the sign language interpretation during the webinar. And I would like to remind to all of you to put your name along with your nationality, for instance, Vina_Indonesia. And I do encourage you to using camera throughout the session to enhance our interaction. But if you are comfortable to off the camera, please do so. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon you and very good evening from Jakarta. Honorable the board member of Indonesia Women Ulama Congress, the advisory board of our Majelis Pertimbangan KUPI, and the deliberative council or Majelis Musyawarah KUPI. In particularly, I would like to mention Ibu Nyai Badiah Fayumi, Dr. Honoris Causa Kiai Haj Hussein Muhammad, Her Excellency Mrs. Laura Angel, First Secretary, Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany, Honorable Ibu Jui Rubianti Khalifah, Country Representative of Asian Muslim Action Network Indonesia, Honorable respective of the Organizing Committee, KUPI, AMAN Indonesia, Fahmina, Gus Durian, Rahima, and Alimat, Honorable Nyai, Kiai, leaders of the Pesantren and the KUPI network that gives support for the last 7 years, Honorable the representative of Indonesia government agencies, embassies, UN agencies, civil society organization, youth organization, university and college around the world. Honorable all of the speakers, moderators from the UK, Malaysia, Burundi, Kenya, Nigeria, Syria, France, and Indonesia, and all of the respective participants of 18 countries around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to extend our warmest welcome to International Webinar Dissemination of KUPI to Fatwa and Recommendation. I am Vina Nihatulmazia from AMAN Indonesia. I would like to be the master of ceremony for this event. On behalf of the organizing committee, we extend our appreciation for your presence today. It's been a year. We have convened successfully the second Indonesia Women Ulama Congress in Semarang and Jepara from 23rd to 26 November 2022, bringing together around 1,600 women ulama from 32 countries. This Congress serves as a platform for women ulama from diverse disciplines to come together, exchange experience, and sharing knowledge. Additionally, it created a collective space that included individuals from various Islamic and social science backgrounds, enabling them to formulate fatwa on the contestation issue, particularly addressing female genital mutilation, unwanted pregnancy, forced marriage, violent extremism, and environmental degradation. And now we have the 5 fatwa that has been formulated. Therefore, in order to disseminate KUPI's fatwa and raise awareness among the international network, the ASEAN Muslim Action Network or AMAN Indonesia, in collaboration with the KUPI2 organizer, Fahmina, Alima, Rahima, and Gus Durian, with the support of the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany, Jakarta, facilitated our gathering today to understand the second KUPI's fatwa and recommendation, including transformative knowledge on KUPI's paradigm and methodology, which women experience and knowledge are using as a baseline for religious interpretation. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, all of the record document, information, and knowledge for the process of the result of the second and also first Congress, including the biography of the women ulama in Indonesia, you may find at digital encyclopedia www.kupipedia.ig. And ladies and gentlemen, before we continue, we invite you to also to pray together for the victim, survivors, family, and people affected by humanitarian crisis around the world. We are to recall how humanitarian crisis impacted to women and children for the most. Therefore, let us give momentum together to prayers to also bring commitment to improve the life of women, including in the middle of humanitarian crisis. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, once more, I would like to remind you to put your name along with your nationality. For instance, Vina_Aman Indonesia or Vina_Indonesia. I do encourage you to using camera to of the session to enhance our interaction. But if you are comfortable to off the camera, please do so. Then the webinar will conduct mostly in English. For those of you who need translation, the organizers provide translation into Indonesia and into English. You may find the globe icon, the interpretation icon, in the right side of your screen. The organizer also provide the sign language interpreting during the webinar. And to begin the event today, we proceed to the welcoming remarks. We will heard two welcoming remarks, and I would like to respectfully invite Ibu Dwi Rubianti Khalifah, the Director of AMAN Indonesia. Ibu Ruby, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Fina. Just want to know whether it is my voice is clear enough. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, it's clear enough.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon you. Chairperson of KUPI, Nyai Badriah Fayumi, advisors of KUPI, AMAN Council, representative of KUPI Organizing Committee, Fahmina Rahima, Alimat Gusdurian, the ambassadors and representative of embassies in Jakarta, and also Indonesia embassy in other countries that joining with us, speakers, moderators, and women ulama from different countries. I'd like to begin my speech by quoting Mama Sham, a female scholar from Kenya who participated in the Second Congress of Indonesia Women Ulama that held in Semarang in Jepara from November 23rd and 26, 2022. She remarked, "Ruby, your country is incredibly beautiful. The people are also very kind. The Islam practice here should set a global trend. Attending KUPI has expanded my perspective." Thank you, Mama Sham. Mama Sham stands among numerous scholars and female activists from diverse countries who observe the impact of KUPI, a potentially transformative force advocating for women's rights from an Islamic perspective. KUPI embodies a renewed hope to sway societal attitudes, promoting a refined existence where women's rights are acknowledged, their roles esteemed, and their contribution optimally valued in society. KUPI's transformative essence lies in valuing women's experiences and knowledge as the foundation for religious interpretation. This signifies that women's experiences serve as a credible, authoritative, and genuine basis for constructing interpretation that are more accommodating and dignifying towards women. On a personal note, I'm deeply impressed by KUPI's fresh narratives addressing women's rights. While we often encounter discussion on female genital mutilation, a term that has gained global prominence, KUPI introduced a new narrative highlighting the protection of women from perils of genital cutting and injury. This narrative is candid, direct, and minimize subjective interpretation, shedding light on the presence of such practices in our surroundings. This fresh perspective fosters a sense of connection and inspires action to end these practices. KUPI wisely navigates the debates on child marriage by passing the polarized discussion about its Islamic validity. Instead, KUPI smartly addresses Islam's standpoint on preventing child marriage, acknowledging the plight of women affected by this practice. Furthermore, KUPI heralds a transformation in the methodology of Islamic studies, emphasizing three crucial practices: redefining ma'ruf or recognized good from a female standpoint, advocating that all religious and societal goodness should be viewed through female lens, embracing substantive justice that considers women's biological, socially, rational, and spiritual experiences, recognize women as a complete entities, akin to men. Therefore, acknowledging various injustice faced by the women. Adopting mubadala, an approach to Islamic texts that employs the principle of reciprocity, ensuring that messages conveyed in religious texts apply universal across genders. Excuse me. Amid Indonesia democratic landscape, I am grateful that our imperfect democracy has fostered a movement advocating for women's rights from Islamic perspective. The uniqueness of the KUPI movement lies in its leadership by women ulama, bolstered by diverse women's group, Islamic institution, civil society organization, government bodies, parliaments, and more. KUPI spearheads a movement to restore religious authority to women. Today, I call upon national and international women ulama to share the promising news and aspiration for a refined and peaceful life for women. This involves announcing 5 critical fatwa, the culmination of the Indonesian Congress of Women Ulama that held on November last year. And I trust this positive news will positively impact women worldwide. I express my gratitude to all organizers, speakers, and moderators whose contribution have led to the success of this event. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Ibu Ruby, for setting the tone of the goal of today's gathering. We will proceed to the next remarks that will be delivered by Ibu Laura Angel, the First Secretary Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany. Please welcome Ibu Laura.
Selamat sore, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I'm addressing you right now, Friday afternoon, out of my home office, and I hope you can all hear me. I would also like to express my great gratitude towards KUPI and AMAN and all the other organizations and organizers who have helped to make the second KUPI Congress in 2022 such a huge success, and coming up with those 5, I think, very, very important fatwa that put the perspective of women at the center of religious interpretation. Germany is supporting these efforts. Some of you might know that we are currently having, for the first time in the history of our country, a female foreign minister who also published our first feminist foreign policy in the beginning of the year, where we would also like to try to put the perspective of women, or also in general, everybody who is maybe facing discrimination around the world, also at the center of our foreign policy. And I think that the KUPI Congress and now also the dissemination of the findings and that we're having right now is coming very timely. I'm also very happy to see that we're almost approaching 100 participants here, so that there is such a huge interest also internationally, because it is not enough, to come up with those fatwa, but it's also important that we spread the word and have this alternative so that people can refer to it and also use it in their everyday teachings. So I really hope that with the efforts that have been made during KUPI and that are now being made also when talking about this, discussing it, and disseminating the findings, then we will be able to contribute to a very positive change. I think that's very much also needed. We all know there is a lot of conflicts in this world right now, and also religious identities play a role. And I think it's very important also that, you know, we can convey this positive image that also, as I said, put women at the center. So thank you again, that Germany can also be part of this journey. And I wish you all a very interesting seminar today. And yeah, I would like to continue this discussion, and I'm very excited to hear then about also your experiences and how you can use the fatwa in your everyday life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ibu Laura, and also the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany for your support. We hope that this collaboration effort in disseminating the result of the religious deliberation, KUPI, Fatwa, and recommendation can strengthen the authority of women ulama for the realization of a just Islamic civilization. And ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed to the next session, we will listen the keynote speech. Before that, we will have a group photo session shortly. And I encourage you to open your camera now, and our colleague from AMAN, Neni, will assisting us. We will have around 5 pages, and I will gauging for the first page.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Please open the camera and smile. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Please hold on the comment and we proceed to the next screen. 1, 2, 3. Please smile. Okay. Wherever you are, just keep smiling. And we have the third, and the fourth, and the 5. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nini, for your assistance. And ladies and gentlemen, we will listen to keynote speech from Professor Dr. Siti Rohaini Zuhayatin, MA, as Advisory Board of KUPI. She is an expert in Islamic studies, human rights, gender, and democracy. She is also an academician and researcher. Professor Rohaini shares a harmonious perspective on the concept of equality with the Indonesia Congress of Women Ulama, asserting that the concept of equality advocated by both women and men is an Islamic teaching that brings blessings to all beings. She will deliver under the title Affirming the Roles of Women Ulama in Creating a Just Islamic Civilization. But unfortunately, Professor Rohaini is unable to attend directly to this webinar, and we will listen to her speech through recording video. Please welcome Ibu Professor Rohaini.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'in wa ala umuri dunya waddin wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in, amma ba'du. At the outset, allow me to extend my gratitude and appreciation to Nyai Badriah Fayumi, Chairperson of KUPI, Ms. Laura Engels, for Secretary, Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany, Sister Dwi Rubianti Khalifah, Country Representative of AMAN Indonesia, Dr. Kiai Haji Hussein Muhammad, Advisory Council of KUPI, distinguished speakers from UK, Nigeria, Kenya, Syria, Burundi, France, and also representatives of the government agencies, United Nations, and embassies. In this precious occasion, I would like to recall the historic and heroic moment when we eventually would dare to declare the hidden treasure of Islam. That is the voice of women scholars and activists. To proclaim and reclaim the name ulama, which was which has been exclusively believed to be accorded to men for centuries. Our struggle to reclaim this voice has been challenging, progressing as well as regressing along with the dynamic of political trends of the Muslim around the world. It started in 1980s to 1990s when the United Nations member states began to ratify CEDAW for advocating women's rights around the world, with no exception of the Muslim world, albeit the reservation they made to the convention. CEDAW has been the strong basis for voicing women's rights, for the basic necessities such as specific women reproductive related health issues, adequate education, access to higher education, and participation in public spaces where in which still limited in some Muslim countries, as we recently witnessed the regression and the removal of those rights in Afghanistan when Taliban seized power in 2020. Distinguished speakers and participants, as the consequences of access and participation of women in higher education, demand for public engagement, and political and economic participation follow. This circumstance has been an ample challenge for the Muslim communities which solely rely on classical tradition where patriarchy was predominant in Islamic narratives. In order to extend and expand the access, participation, decision-making process, and benefit for women, the work of Muslim women scholars such as Fatima Mernissi, Laila Ahmad, Rifat Hassan, Nawal El-Sadawi, Aminah Wadud, just to mention a few, become the inspiration and the aspiration for the Indonesian women scholars and activists who graduated from Islamic higher education to break the myth of women's subordination. However, the effort in the ground has not been as progressive as it is in their university level. Religious authorities were solely in the hands of male ulama, which mostly based in many Muslim organizations, judges in Islamic courts, and hundreds of thousands of pesantren or the Islamic learning centers in the community level. Distinguished participants and speakers, the struggle has taught us a lesson. Although for many feminists it might not be the ideal strategy for inviting and partnering with progressive male ulama to talk about women's rights, it was somehow proven to be effective and acceptable in the Indonesian context. It seems to be less threatening when men talk to men, and also to some other conservative women, rather than women alone talk about women's rights. We are most grateful and thankful for having Dr. Kiai Haji Hussein Muhammad, Dr. Fakhruddin, Dr. Hamim Ilyas, Professor Amin Abdullah, and many others for their restless and profound support in paving the avenue for advocating for rights in Indonesia. Such a strategy might be adopted in Indonesia and perhaps in Muslim contexts such as Dr. Asghar al-Engineer in the Indian context, or perhaps male ulama in Malaysia, southern Thailand, and southern Philippines. In the turn of the 21st century, gender and women's rights has become the popular conversation and public discussion albeit the prevailing gaps on women leadership in higher public and political leadership. It was only in 2017 that eventually and timely that we, women scholars and activists, were there to push to the limits and broke the wall of the myth on ulama for centuries, welcoming more progressive male ulama and higher level Muslim organizations and government officials, including the Minister of Religious Affairs, reconvened and declared the Congress of Women Ulama Indonesia. This is the first Congress happens in Indonesia, or otherwise known as KUPI. The Congress was attended by hundreds of women, pesantren leaders, scholars, activists who represented the whole regions in Indonesia. Among us also colleagues, women and men from abroad, from Malaysia, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, Afghanistan, and many others. We confidently cherish the enormous visibility and important roles of women ulama in our society, in leadership and mentorship at pesantren, madrasah, majlis taklim, prominent members of Muslim organizations, rectors, professors, and lecturers in the Islamic universities. Distinguished speakers and participants, the Congress served as the platform for women ulama from diverse disciplines to come together, exchange experiences, and share knowledge. Additionally, it created a collective space that included individuals from various Islamic and social sciences backgrounds, enabling them to formulate fatwas on contesting issues on religion, socio-political, and economic, as well as pressing issues on women engaging in violent extremism. Creating a free-risk environment during the Congress was imperative to encourage those women to speak out and disengage from such a deep-rooted terrorism. The first Congress obtained wide attention and various response nationally and internationally, and of course, pro and cons. I recall the Congress also stimulated an intense discussion in the Human Rights Commission of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in Jeddah following such Congress. Distinguished speakers and participants, following the first Congress in 2017, the second Congress of Indonesia Women Ulama was held in Semarang and Jepara, Indonesia, in November 2022, bringing bigger number, around 1,600 women ulama from Indonesia and from 22 other countries. I may highlight again the role of this Congress in encouraging a collaborative approach to these contentious issues, leveraging the knowledge and experiences of women ulama from different backgrounds to contribute to the formulations of fatwas that would address these pressing concerns within the context of Islam and contemporary society, particularly addressing a range of pressing issues such as female genital mutilation, unwanted pregnancies, forced marriage, and violent extremism, as well as environmental degradation. The second Congress facilitated to formulate 5 main fatwas on the first, protecting women from the neglect of environmental damage caused by waste, which is considered prohibited or haram. Second, protecting women from danger of violence in the name of religion, which is seen as obligatory or wajib. The third, performing female genital mutilation without medical reason is prohibited or haram. The fourth, protecting of pregnant women from sexual abuses and rape cases. Protecting women against forced marriage is mandatory, as well as other public pressing political, economic, and social issues. Distinguished speakers and participants, these fatwas reflect the perspective and insight of the participating women and serve a significant step toward challenging and transforming societal mindset, dismantling gender inequality, and combating patriarchy. The fatwas provide a religious and ethical framework that support the effort of KUPI and its network to bring about positive change within communities. By having these fatwas in place, women-based organization, community, academia, religious and faith leaders, and policymakers can leverage them as powerful tool to advocate for gender equality, challenge harmful practices and beliefs, and promote women's rights within the community. Ever since that KUPI has been recognized and been involved in many legislation processes in national and local parliaments, not only laws related to women, but also general laws such as the new Indonesian criminal law, which has been initiated 40 years ago. KUPI as a representation of women ulama in Indonesia has played a directive role in the enactment of the law on preventing sexual violence and laws on protecting domestic workers where women are the main target. These two laws has been pending for 20 years due to the prevailing public debate and controversies. Distinguished speakers and participants, it is timely for KUPI to disseminate the outcomes of the Congress to the international audience in order to strengthen the voice of women ulama and creating an environment where gender equality is not only accepted but actively observed and practiced. This involves engaging with policymakers, institutions, and community leaders to ensure that these fatwa are integrated and policies, law, and social practices. With thanks to the partnership of KUPI, AMAN, as well as the support of the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany in Jakarta for making this event happening by engaging colleagues from many different countries. I wish you a constructive discussion and profound outcome which providing a lasting impact on the life of women and girls. I thanks. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Ibu Professor Dr. Siti Ruhaini, for highlighting the 5 fatwa and also emphasizing the roles of women ulama in creating a just Islamic civilization. And ladies and gentlemen, we will bring you back to the memories about the process of KUPI 2 by screening video of the process and result of Indonesia Women Ulama Congress 2.
Musyawarah keagamaan merupakan kegiatan inti pada Kongres Ulama Perempuan Indonesia atau KUPI yang telah dilakukan pada tahun 2017 dan 2022. Dalam musyawarah keagamaan, ulama perempuan merespon isu-isu krusial dan darurat yang dialami atau berdampak pada kehidupan perempuan, anak, kelompok lemah yang seringkali dilupakan. Dalam merumuskan hasil musyawarah keagamaan, KUPI menggunakan metodologi yang khas, yaitu pendekatan ma'ruf, pendekatan mubadalah, dan pendekatan keadilan hakiki. Metodologi KUPI ini bekerja dengan saling terkait dan tidak terpisahkan saat digunakan dalam merespon persoalan keagamaan. Dengan metodologi dan sistematika yang dapat dipertanggungjawabkan ini, akan melahirkan hasil musyawarah keagamaan yang dapat menjadi rahmatan lil alamin dan tidak merugikan salah satu jenis kelamin atau pihak tertentu. Pada Kongres Ulama Perempuan kedua yang diselenggarakan pada November 2022 di Jepara, KUPI mengeluarkan 5 pandangan keagamaan. 1. Hukum peminggiran perempuan yang berdampak pada tidak terjaganya NKRI dari bahaya kekerasan atas nama agama adalah haram. Data yang dikeluarkan Institute for Policy Analysis of Conflict atau IP menunjukkan jumlah perempuan yang terlibat aktif sebagai bagian dari pelaku tindakan ekstrim dan teror atas nama agama meningkat dalam 20 tahun terakhir. Perempuan bukan hanya berperan sebagai pelaku, tetapi juga menjadi kelompok rentan yang tidak memperoleh perhatian cukup dari para pihak. Di sisi lain, perempuan juga berperan sebagai pelaku perdamaian karena kekuatan, kepedulian, dan solidaritas antar perempuan, menjadi landasan yang menguatkan kerja-kerja kemanusiaan dan perdamaian, terutama pada berbagai tindak kekerasan atas nama agama dan budaya di Indonesia. Untuk melindungi perempuan dari berbagai bentuk kekerasan atas nama agama, maka negara dalam berbagai tingkat otoritasnya, lembaga keagamaan, lembaga sosial, dunia usaha, masyarakat sipil, keluarga, dan media bertanggung jawab untuk melindungi perempuan dengan berbagai cara dan kemampuannya. NKRI merupakan hasil dari konsensus kebangsaan atau muahada watoniyah dan negara kesepakatan atau dar al-miqsaq yang harus dijaga dan ditepati, sebagaimana tertuang dalam Quran Surat Al-Maidah ayat 1 dan Quran Surat Hud ayat 85. NKRI juga terbukti menjadi rumah besar yang aman bagi implementasi tujuan syariat atau maqasid asy-syariah. Karenanya, cinta tanah air menjadi prasyarat kesempurnaan iman. Oleh karenanya, hukum menjaga NKRI dari bahaya kekerasan atas nama agama adalah wajib bagi setiap warga negara. 2. Hukum melakukan pembiaran sampah yang merusak kelestarian lingkungan dan mengancam keselamatan manusia, terutama perempuan, adalah haram. Pengelolaan sampah yang tidak tepat telah mengakibatkan kerusakan lingkungan dan mengancam kehidupan manusia. Berbagai data menunjukkan dampak bahaya dari pengelolaan sampah yang tidak tepat seperti bencana longsor, banjir, dan kerusakan alam di beberapa tempat yang telah memakan banyak korban. Mengantisipasi agar tak lagi ada korban atas polusi sampah, wajib hukumnya bagi pemerintah dan pemegang kebijakan untuk membangun infrastruktur politik, sosial, ekonomi, ilmu pengetahuan, dan teknologi yang mendukung pengelolaan sampah untuk keberlangsungan lingkungan hidup dan keselamatan manusia, terutama perempuan. Menjaga bumi dan tidak merusaknya adalah wasiat Nabi Muhammad SAW karena bumi dianggap sebagai ibu manusia, sebagaimana tertuang dalam hadis riwayat At-Tabrani nomor 4595. Tempat manusia berasal dan akan kembali, sebagaimana tertuang dalam Quran Surat At-Toha ayat 55. Demi menjaga kelangsungan bumi yang aman dan nyaman bagi semua ciptaan Tuhan, individu, keluarga, masyarakat, pemerintah maupun korporasi wajib mengurangi dan mengelola sampah sesuai kemampuan dan kewenangan masing-masing. 3. Hukum melakukan pelindungan terhadap perempuan dari bahaya pemaksaan perkawinan adalah wajib. Pemaksaan perkawinan menimbulkan banyak dampak buruk atau mafsadat dan bahaya atau mudarat yang merugikan perempuan, sehingga sulit membentuk keluarga sakinah dan maslahah. Pemaksaan perkawinan berdampak buruk dan sistemik dalam kehidupan perempuan, baik secara fisik maupun psikis, mental, sosial, ekonomi, politik, dan hukum. Oleh karena itu, negara dan semua pihak yang terkait wajib melakukan penanganan dengan upaya yang cepat dan tepat untuk meminimalisasi dan menghapuskan segala bahaya akibat pemaksaan perkawinan terhadap perempuan. Dengan demikian, membuat peraturan perundangan yang menjamin hak-hak korban, pemulihan yang berkelanjutan, dan sanksi pidana bagi pelaku pemaksaan perkawinan pada perempuan, hukumnya adalah wajib. Hukum melindungi jiwa perempuan dari bahaya kehamilan akibat perkosaan pada usia berapapun kehamilannya, baik dengan cara melanjutkan atau menghentikan kehamilan, karena setiap kehamilan akibat perkosaan menyebabkan darurat medis atau psikiatris adalah wajib. Perkosaan adalah kriminal, dan kehamilan akibat perkosaan adalah pelanggaran serius atas hak-hak reproduksi perempuan. Perempuan korban perkosaan telah mengalami kezaliman dan pelemahan secara berlipat, baik secara fisik, psikis, maupun sosial. Perempuan korban perkosaan masuk dalam kategori Ustadz Afin yang harus didukung dan ditolong, sebagaimana tertuang dalam Quran Surat An-Nisa ayat 75, serta difasilitasi untuk bisa keluar dari kezaliman yang dialaminya, sebagaimana tertuang dalam Quran Surat Ibrahim ayat 1. Indonesia telah mengatur kemungkinan perempuan korban perkosaan memperoleh layanan penghentian kehamilan secara aman melalui Undang-Undang Nomor 36 Tahun 2009. Pada kenyataannya, tidak ada tenaga medis yang berani melakukan, sekalipun dalam kondisi yang sangat dibutuhkan perempuan korban tersebut. Akibatnya, banyak kasus penghentian kehamilan korban perkosaan dilakukan secara tidak aman. Membiarkan perempuan korban perkosaan dalam bahaya kehamilan adalah melanggar prinsip-prinsip hukum Islam atau maqasid asy-syariah, yaitu perlindungan agama atau hifz ad-din, pelindungan jiwa atau hifz an-nafs, pelindungan keturunan atau hifz an-nafs, pelindungan akal atau hifdzul akal, dan perlindungan kekayaan atau hifz al-mal. 5. Hukum melakukan tindakan pemotongan atau pelukaan genitalia perempuan atau P2GP yang membahayakan tanpa alasan medis adalah haram. Perbedaan bentuk dan fungsi reproduksi antara laki-laki dan perempuan menyebabkan perbedaan signifikan saat dilakukan pemotongan atau pelukaan organ kelamin keduanya. Sunat pada laki-laki dapat melancarkan fungsi reproduksi, sementara bagi perempuan memberikan dampak buruk karena dapat merusak banyak jaringan syaraf dan pembuluh darah, sehingga bisa menyebabkan komplikasi segera dan komplikasi jangka panjang. Hadis tentang khitan perempuan yang disebut sebagai makrumah
dalam kitab As-Sunan Al-Kubro dan kitab Nailul Autor
memiliki sanad yang lemah atau do'if. Karena periwayatnya, Hajjaj bin Arta'ah dianggap tidak dapat dijadikan hujjah layah tajjubihi, karena meskipun ia seorang yang jujur, tetapi banyak salah dan melakukan menyembunyikan sesuatu, saduk kathir al-qata' wa at-tadlis. Oleh karenanya, tidak bisa dijadikan dasar untuk melakukan sunat perempuan. Seluruh pembahasan detail musyawarah keagamaan bisa diakses melalui kupipedia.id dan buku hasil musyawarah keagamaan Kongres Ulama Perempuan kedua.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kindly attention and for staying with us. I would like to also remind again all of the document of the first and the second Women Ulama Congress you may find at Digital Encyclopedia www.kupipedia.id. And we will proceed to the next session without further delay to the plenary session KUPI, Fatwa, and Building Global Solidarity to Respond to Crisis that will be led by our gorgeous moderator, Mrs. Samia Katele. Mrs. Samia is a PhD candidate at École Normale Supérieure Leon Frank and a fellow in IIAS Leiden, Netherlands. Her research focuses on the social and intellectual history of women ulama in Indonesia since 19th century. Her work is based on archives, topography, and ethnographic fieldworks in women organization and pesantren to examine the intersection of religious authority, gender, and hermeneutic. Mrs. Samia, please, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed participants and honored guests, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to this significant plenary session on KUPI, Fatwas, and Building Global Solidarity to Respond to Crisis. As the moderator today, it is a huge privilege to guide us through an exploration of the profound outcome of the Second Congress of Indonesian women ulema held in Semarang and Jepara last November 2022. And I want to extend my heartfelt appreciation to the entire network tirelessly contributing to the realization of transformative justice in Indonesia and in the world. So special thanks to AMAN Indonesia, Fahmina Institute, Alimat Rahima Gusdurian Networks, and as well all the participants, speakers, moderators, and organizers who are paving the way for justice, compassion, and progress. Thank you so much for your collective effort. And I really want to emphasize today before starting, it is such an amazing thing that today these sessions are conducted also in English. It is so inclusive. We also have sign language. So thank you for all these huge efforts. I think it's really important to say, I was saying just earlier today to Dr. Nurofia, actually, I think people should start learning Bahasa Indonesia instead of learning Arabic. I think it would be more a word to social justice. So just before starting this session, I just want to remind that the Congress was attended last year by approximately 1,600 women ulema from 32 countries. And it served as a dynamic platform for the conversions of diverse expertise disciplines, creating a space for the exchange of experiences, expertise, and sharing knowledge. And thanks to this Congress, we have notable achievements by the formulation of the fatwas that are in the core today of these plenary sessions. And just we have, I think, to remind that these fatwa are born out of open dialogue. We've seen it during the Congress. It was a really a lot of sessions of dialogues, collective wisdom, expertise gained from field work, as well as knowledge with women ulema and experts from varied background that gave ethical guide spot for our communities. And they tackle issues ranging from environmental degradation, violent extremism, genital mutilation, unwanted pregnancies, and forced marriage. And today we will delve, inshallah, into these fatwas. And we have for this an amazing chance today to have an introduction that will be made by Dr. Nurofia. I think we have to introduce her once again, but I think everyone knows her. She's so famous now. She's a lecturer in the methodology of Quranic interpretation at postgraduate program of the Institute of Quranic Science in Jakarta, Indonesia. She's also a national member of lots of organizations, but also NU. She is also one of a great scholar and writer that developed the methodology and hermeneutics that are used and inspired KUPI's fatwa. And she will give us today an amazing presentation of the 5 fatwa by explaining a little bit more of the methodology and the hermeneutic work that has been built behind. And we will also have the great expertise of Dr. Fakihuddin Abdul Qadir, who is also sitting in the Majlis Musyawarah of KUPI. Fakihuddin Abdul Qadir is founder of the Fahmina Foundation, an Indonesian NGO working on gender, democracy, and pluralism from Islamic perspective. He is currently a vice president, vice head of the foundation of General Secretary of Alimat, also a national movement for just and equal family in Indonesia. He is also a lecturer on the Hadith and the legal injection at Sheikh Nushari State Institute for Islamic Studies, AIEN, and Fahmina Institute for Islamic Studies. So just to sum up, I think I really want to give the stage for these 2 amazing scholars, but we have the huge chance today to engage, to dive into this fatwa with amazing speakers. So we will start with this introduction, and after this, we will invite speakers and discutants from different countries to also react, bring their light on this fatwa. So before we start, I think I will invite non-Indonesian speakers to kindly sign in for translation by clicking on the button of the screen on the interpretation button so that you can follow before you start learning Bahasa Indonesia, because it's a great advice for me. Thank you so much. So I will invite first Dr. Fakihuddin Abdul Qadir. Can you hear me?
Ya, saya pikir Nur dulu, saya dulu ya. Oke.
It's okay.
Because she
Nur,
told me Fakih dulu, so as you want.
Nur gimana Nur?
Okay, it's okay. You can go first.
Oke.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillah,
Waalaikumsalam.
alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawalah, amma ba'd. Ini waktu yang sangat terbatas, saya akan menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. Pertama, tentu saya terima kasih kepada seluruh nama-nama lembaga-lembaga yang berpartisipasi, yang telah disebutkan namanya oleh moderator, oleh MC, dan oleh teman-teman yang telah menyambut terlebih dahulu. Terutama para peserta dan narasumber. Saya akan mencoba menjelaskan beberapa hal terkait dengan fatwa dan rekomendasi. Tadi saya berbagi dengan Mbak Nur, saya bagian hasilnya, dan Mbak Nur Rofi akan bagian metodologinya. Namun beberapa poin mungkin akan satu sama lain mungkin akan bertemu dan bisa jadi tumpang tindih. Karena itu mohon maaf jika tidak terbagi secara baik ya. Fatwa dan rekomendasi KUPI itu bukan sekedar pandangan hukum atau opini yang bersifat anggaplah intelektual atau naratif, tapi dia berangkat dari sebuah visi, misi, gerakan, dan tentu saja keimanan dan sistem pengetahuan serta model-model bekerja aktivisme yang ada di dalam masyarakat. Jadi Kongres itu sekalipun keputusan utamanya berupa fatwa, tetapi tidak hanya memutuskan fatwa. Di sana ada diskusi, ada kolaborasi, ada pertemuan-pertemuan, ada dialog, ada dan lain-lain yang terkait dengan gerakan itu sendiri. Karena itu, untuk mengenal dan memahami fatwa serta rekomendasi juga harus mengenal visi misi KUPI, di mana visi yang utama tentu saja terkait dengan bagaimana mewujudkan peradaban yang adil dalam kehidupan manusia secara hakiki, bermartabat, dan berkelanjutan dalam rahmat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Dan karena itu ada misi-misi yang terkait dengan bagaimana memberikan ruang khidmah dan konteks bagi tumbuhnya ulama perempuan, dan juga ada misi terkait dengan bagaimana KUPI ini juga mengembangkan teologi dan sistem pengetahuan. Begitupun terkait dengan otoritas, terkait dengan kapasitas, ini tidak sekedar muncul begitu saja, tetapi dibentuk, dikembangkan, dilibatkan dari partisipasi berbagai pihak, individu maupun lembaga, sebagai gerakan bersama antar individu tersebut dalam ruang-ruang kultural, intelektual, sosial, dan termasuk struktural. Jadi fatwa dan rekomendasi juga karena itu akan menjadi basis bagi KUPI untuk melakukan kerja-kerja misi tersebut, terutama di ruang kultural dan termasuk di ruang struktural ketika kita mengajak ke negara. Dan karena itu ya KUPI memandang secara kolektif, ya kami memandang KUPI ini sebagai gerakan intelektual, di mana ada diskusi, ada seminar, ada workshop, ada penulisan buku dan lain-lain, tapi juga gerakan sosial, di mana satu sama lain berefleksi untuk memastikan terjadi transformasi terjadi perubahan perilaku, terjadi perubahan relasi-relasi di masyarakat, dan juga perubahan norma dan nilai dalam kultural, serta tentu saja berangkat dari keimanan, karena itu dianggap sebagai gerakan spiritual. Dalam kongres itu, di sana juga ada pengajian, ada puasa, ada sholat bersama, ada dan lain-lain yang merupakan pondasi keimanan untuk memungkinkan gerakan kultural, sosial dan intelektual itu bisa wujud dan kuat. Dan ruang-ruang yang kami isi dengan individu dan lembaga itu juga merupakan ruang-ruang yang cukup beragam gitu ya. Ada 5 paling tidak, ada pesantren, ada majelis taklim, ada perguruan tinggi, ada ormas, ada anak-anak muda, tapi juga kita masuk di ranah keluarga, di ranah komunitas, di gerakan lembaga masyarakat, lembaga LSM, lembaga sosial masyarakat, dan juga negara dan juga lingkungan. Nah, karena itu kita akan melihat bahwa hasil fatwa KUPI sejak yang pertama maupun yang kedua itu di sana merekomendasikan ruang-ruang tadi, merekomendasikan ranah-ranah tadi untuk terlibat. Jadi orang KUPI diajak jaringannya, masyarakatnya, lalu perguruan tingginya, pesantrennya, lalu anak mudanya, dan juga negara. Kami tidak antipati dengan negara dan pemerintah, bagaimana mereka bisa terlibat untuk memastikan agenda-agenda terkait dengan KUPI, terutama hasil fatwanya, yang tadi 3 sudah dibacakan. Yang KUPI pertama ada soal bagaimana kekerasan seksual itu tidak hanya dilarang tapi dicegah, dan kemudian sudah menjadi pondasi dan undang-undang di Indonesia. Begitupun juga perlindungan anak dari pernikahan, dan ketiga adalah soal perusakan alam yang itu masih terus perlu kekuatan dari negara. Dan 5 fatwa KUPI yang kedua juga, sebagaimana sudah disampaikan dalam video tadi, itu kentara sekali nanti bagaimana secara metodologi, nanti akan disampaikan oleh Mbak Nur, itu memiliki kekhasan sendiri dengan basis pengalaman perempuan yang dipandang sebagai subjek penuh dan manusia utuh. Namun sebagai sebuah proses, sebagai sebuah jalan untuk perubahan sosial, perumusan fatwa ini juga sekaligus mengajak individu-individu jaringan KUPI di berbagai ranah yang disebutkan tadi, 5 ranah dan 5 ruang khidmah KUPI itu. Nah, karena itu rekomendasi KUPI juga pada KUPI 2 kita lihat ada yang betul-betul mengarah kepada kultural dan ada yang betul-betul mengarah kepada struktural. Kultural artinya menanam nilai-nilai melalui modal yang ada, melalui norma yang ada, nyanyian, sholawatan, puisi, seni, novel, hampir semua kita libatkan berbagai pihak untuk menyuarakan agenda KUPI ini dalam berbagai produk-produk kultural. Nah, tidak hanya soal intelektual, tapi termasuk sholawat, nyanyi, drama, sandiwara, film, dan novel-novel juga sudah banyak berkembang dengan nafas-nafas KUPI. Begitupun struktural, ya kita masuk pada ruang-ruang parlemen, pemerintah, dan lain sebagainya. Dan tentu saja fatwa ini seperti yang saya sebutkan di awal, itu tidak hanya sekedar narasi akademik, tetapi dia memiliki paradigma yang utamanya adalah pada 9 nilai yang semuanya menurut kami di KUPI itu berangkat dari ketauhidan, di mana ketika kita menganggap Allah sebagai hanya Tuhan semata, maka seluruh manusia adalah hamba dan makhluk yang harus bekerja sama untuk mewujudkan maksud atau tujuan Tuhan menciptakan dunia ini, yaitu rahmatan lil alamin sebagai nilai yang kedua. Lalu kemaslahatan, lalu kesetaraan, lalu kesalingan, keadilan, dan tentu saja dalam ruang pada konteks Indonesia adalah kebangsaan. Ini penting sebagai rumah bersama, karena kalau tidak, semua nilai di atas tadi tidak bisa kita lakukan. Hal yang sama kita akan punya relasi secara global, karena itu penting nilai kemanusiaan, dan kita juga perlu berlanjut bumi ini, alam ini, karena itu perlu nilai kesemestaan. Dan tentu saja sumber-sumber pengetahuannya itu karena kita berangkat dari tradisi Islam, keimanan Islam, maka kita merujuk kepada keyakinan, keimanan kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala, sadar dengan kehadiran alam dan juga kepada kemampuan paradigma peradaban manusia yang ada di teks-teks sumber maupun Quran maupun hadis, ada dalam tradisi. Dan kita juga secara sengaja dan jelas serta pasti bahwa fatwa KUPI harus merujuk kepada konstitusi. Ini sepertinya baru pertama kali fatwa keagamaan harus merujuk kepada konstitusi, yaitu undang-undang tertinggi di sebuah negara. Mengapa? Ya karena kita hidup dalam sebuah negara di mana ujung relasi kenegaraannya pada konstitusi. Nah, dalam Islam itu kan kita mengenal istilah orf, istilah adat. Nah, kalau dibandingkan adat sama konstitusi, lebih kuat konstitusi. Maka seharusnya fatwa-fatwa juga merujuk kepada konstitusi. Mengapa? Agar kita bisa bekerja sama juga dengan negara, dengan pemerintah, dan seluruh pihak yang ada dalam negara tersebut, karena kita diikat oleh konstitusi. Dan tentu saja secara Islam ya kita pasti merujuk kepada dasar-dasar yang ada dalam usul fikih, terutama maqasid syariah. Nah, bagi orang yang mengkaji maqasid syariah akan kelihatan bagaimana maqasid syariah dalam KUPI itu betul-betul dibunyikan, mulai dari menata sistematika ketika melihat Quran, ketika hadis, ketika fikih, itu dikerangkakan dalam maqasid ini. Mana bagian ayat yang melindungi jiwa, mana bagian ayat yang melindungi akal, melindungi kehormatan, melindungi agama. Dengan cara pandang kerangka framework maqasid ini, maka kita akan menemukan poin utama dari Quran itu yang nanti akan menjadi pondasi dan dasar dalam perumusan fatwa KUPI tersebut. Dan tentu saja nanti akan dijelaskan oleh Mbak Nyai Nur Rafi'ah bahwa ada pendekatan khas ketika melihat maqasid, ketika membaca Quran, ketika membaca hadis, termasuk ketika kita merujuk kepada realitas, kepada ilmu pengetahuan, kepada undang-undang, agar kita memiliki pendekatan yang komprehensif, yaitu ma'ruf, mubadalah, dan keadilan hakiki, yang nanti akan dijelaskan oleh Mbak Nyai Nur Rafi'ah. Ini pun karakteristik dasar dari fatwa KUPI, nanti akan dijelaskan juga oleh Mbak Nur. Utamanya adalah tentang bagaimana laki dan perempuan keduanya dipandang sebagai sama-sama hamba Allah, sama-sama khalifah. Karena itu diperlakukan dan dirujuk sebagai manusia utuh dan subjek penuh ketika berfatwa, dan karena itu karakteristik proses dari fatwa KUPI itu partisipatoris, artinya orang-orang dilibatkan, terutama para korban dalam konteks isu-isu perempuan. Perempuan akan dilibatkan sejak di rumusan pertama, pencarian data, analisis awal, sampai kepada proses perumusan fatwa dan penentuan atau penulisan hasilnya. Dan tentu saja prosesnya juga terbuka, responsif, dan dialektik dalam melihat teks dan realitas untuk menemukan kerangka maqasidnya, kerangka tujuan dasar dari Islam itu sendiri. Dan hasilnya diharapkan tentu saja argumentatif, kuat, ada dasarnya, ada realitasnya, kontekstual, menjawab hal-hal yang ada di realitas, implementatif artinya bisa dilakukan, tidak ngawang-ngawang, dan kita juga berpikir bagaimana fatwanya itu yang memberi solusi. Jadi bukan mendatangkan masalah, mendatangkan perdebatan. Kita tidak berniat untuk bikin konflik, tapi kita sedang menawarkan sebuah solusi dinamis, artinya sangat mungkin terjadi perubahan ketika ada realitas, ada maqasid, ada yang lebih kuat lagi, dan tentu moderat. Dan terakhir saya pikir dalam konteks di mana KUPI memproduksi fatwa sebagai sesuatu yang paling utama dalam kongresnya itu, sekali lagi dia bukan sekedar narasi intelektual, tapi dia adalah hasil dari rumusan paradigma, keimanan, gerakan yang menyatu satu sama lain untuk memastikan bahwa Islam itu betul-betul rahmatan lil alamin dan akhlakul karimah. Sehingga semua pihak, terutama perempuan, itu tidak hanya menjadi objek, tapi juga menjadi subjek dalam konteks memenuhi sekaligus menikmati kerahmatan Islam, kerahmatan hukum, dan juga kerahmatan kebijakan-kebijakan publik, nanti politik, ekonomi, dan ini perlu gerakan terus-menerus, tidak hanya KUPI di Indonesia, dan tentu saja seluruh pihak, terutama para ulama dari berbagai negara-negara sahabat. Karena itu sangat berterima kasih kepada Mbak Samia dan teman-teman dari berbagai negara, sebutkan ada Kenya, ada Syria, ada Senegal, ada dan lain-lain. Dan tentu kepada AMAN yang menyelenggarakan dan Kedutaan Besar Jerman serta seluruh pihak. Ini saya kira banyak sekali sudah disebutkan ya. Mudah-mudahan ini bisa menjadi awal untuk mengkonsolidasikan menjadi gerakan bersama secara global. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih banyak, Kang Fakih. Thank you so much for this really enlightening introduction on the fatwas that really remind us that these are not only intellectual narrative, but also socially grounded, full of missions, paradigms, and characteristics that has to be implemented in the social reality. Thank you for also respecting the time. And now we will directly move on with our distinguished speaker, Ibu Nyai Nurofia. The floor is yours.
Halo, suara saya terdengar?
Yes.
Oke.
Terdengar, lancar.
Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak dan Ibu, pembicara, peserta, juga moderator yang saya hormati, izinkan saya melanjutkan apa yang sudah dimulai oleh Kang Fakih berkaitan dengan fatwa dan rekomendasi KUPI. Saya ingin bicara terkait dengan background atau latar belakang mengapa KUPI punya fatwa yang hampir selalu berbeda dengan fatwa arus utama. Sedikit mengingatkan bahwa ulama perempuan itu adalah laki-laki dan perempuan yang secara kolektif dia punya kapasitas ulama dan memegang erat perspektif perempuan. Lalu KUPI itu sendiri adalah sebuah gerakan yang ingin menciptakan satu peradaban Islam yang adil pada laki-laki dan perempuan. Karena itu, Bapak Ibu sekalian, ini saya agak khawatir dengan apakah saya stop screen dulu atau ya? Karena di tempat saya kok mohon maaf, saya akan mencoba share screen ulang. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Apakah Mbak Neni bisa bantu saya atau saya coba sekali lagi?
Baik, Ibu.
Saya sudah coba share screen, semoga tidak ada masalah kali ini. Jadi Bapak Ibu sekalian, keulamaan perempuan Indonesia itu bersifat kolektif. Dan Masya Allah. Boleh Mbak Neni silakan, saya dibantu saja.
Iya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
PPT-nya boleh dibantu Ibu
dikirim di WhatsApp. Maaf sekali. Astagfirullah, saya sudah mempersiapkan.
We still have some time.
Yes, please, sorry.
It's okay. Sometimes technical issues.
Yes, I already prepared very well, I think. Mbak Neni sudah? Baik, saya lanjutkan saja sambil menunggu PPT.
Yes, I think it's the best. Ya, silakan Ibu.
Oke, silakan Mbak Nini ke bawah. Oke, bawah lagi. Baik, sekali lagi Kongres Ulama Perempuan Indonesia adalah sebuah pertemuan. Dia bukan lembaga dan dia adalah gerakan menuju peradaban Islam yang adil bagi laki-laki dan perempuan. Dan syarat dari peradaban Islam yang demikian itu adalah mendudukkan perempuan sebagai manusia utuh dan subjek penuh. Boleh berikutnya. Apa yang dimaksudkan sebagai manusia utuh? Ini merespon cara pandang sistem pengetahuan Islam yang didominasi oleh laki-laki, pada umumnya melihat perempuan sebagai objek seksual sehingga menjadi sumber fitnah, dipandang seperti itu. KUPI menolak cara pandang ini dan menegaskan bahwa laki-laki dan perempuan harus didudukkan sebagai manusia utuh, dan manusia utuh itu artinya adalah makhluk fisik yang juga intelektual karena punya akal dan spiritual karena punya hati nurani. Maka apa yang disebut sebagai Islami dalam sebuah pengetahuan, dia tidak hanya perlu halalan, diizinkan oleh teks-teks keagamaan, tetapi juga harus thayyiban, dia baik, sekaligus ma'rufan, dia layak atau pantas dilakukan oleh seorang makhluk yang berakal budi. Yang kedua, boleh berikutnya, laki-laki dan perempuan dalam sistem pengetahuan Islam yang dibangun oleh KUPI juga mesti didudukkan sama-sama sebagai subjek penuh. Perempuan bukan subjek sekunder, apalagi sebagai objek. Laki-laki dan perempuan itu sama-sama menjadi subjek penuh dalam sistem kehidupan, sistem pengetahuan Islam, karena dua-duanya punya status melekat sebagai hanya hamba Allah, dan dua-duanya sekaligus punya mandat sebagai khalifah fil ard, yang tugasnya adalah mewujudkan kemaslahatan seluas-luasnya di muka bumi, baik di dalam maupun di luar rumah. Subjek penuh artinya bertanggung jawab atas kemaslahatan dan berhak menikmatinya dan punya kewajiban mencegah kemungkaran sekaligus dilindungi darinya. Boleh berikutnya. Karena itu KUPI dalam melihat mandat yang sangat berat yang diemban oleh laki-laki dan perempuan, meyakini bahwa Tuhan memberi petunjuk tidak hanya melalui Al-Quran, yang disebut sebagai ayat kecil atau ayat surah. Tuhan juga memberikan petunjuk melalui ayat besar atau ayat kubro, yaitu alam semesta raya seisinya. Al-Quran dan alam semesta raya seisinya dipelajari oleh manusia, sehingga lahirlah ilmu yang kerap kita anggap sebagai ilmu agama kalau itu berasal dari Al-Quran, dan ilmu sekuler kalau itu berasal dari penelitian terhadap alam semesta raya seisinya. Cara pandang KUPI, dua jenis ilmu ini adalah ikhtiar manusia untuk memahami petunjuk Tuhan. Karena itu baik ilmu agama maupun ilmu umum sama-sama punya validitas untuk dipertimbangkan dalam merumuskan kemaslahatan di muka bumi. Karena itu ilmu sosial, ilmu kesehatan, sosiologi, antropologi, termasuk analisis gender itu valid digunakan sebagai alat untuk merumuskan kemaslahatan di samping ilmu-ilmu keislaman. Bahkan sebuah ilmu, baik ilmu agama maupun ilmu umum, hanya bernilai Islami kalau dia digunakan untuk kemaslahatan. Ilmu keislaman digunakan atau disalahgunakan untuk melegitimasi kedoliman pada siapapun termasuk perempuan, maka ilmu itu tidak bernilai Islami di tangan penggunanya. Sementara ilmu-ilmu umum itu bernilai Islami kalau digunakan untuk merumuskan kemaslahatan termasuk kemaslahatan perempuan. Next please. Karena itu dalam paradigma KUPI, berislam adalah sebuah proses terus-menerus untuk mengubah sistem yang dolim menjadi lebih adil, semakin adil seadil mungkin, karena sistem kehidupan yang Islami itu identik dengan sistem kehidupan yang adil, termasuk adil pada perempuan. Fatwa KUPI berada dalam posisi sebagai usaha untuk membangun sistem kehidupan yang adil. Tentu saja persoalan apapun termasuk perempuan itu banyak sekali dimensinya. Setidaknya KUPI yang diyakini punya otoritas keagamaan itu mengambil peran pada bagaimana ajaran-ajaran Islam itu tidak disalahgunakan untuk melegitimasi kedoliman. Inilah peran KUPI dalam proses melahirkan sistem kehidupan termasuk dalam bernegara, dalam berkeluarga yang adil, termasuk adil bagi perempuan. Boleh berikutnya. Nah, Bapak Ibu sekalian, kita meyakini, KUPI meyakini bahwa ajaran Islam termasuk Al-Quran itu ditujukan pada seluruh manusia, tetapi melalui masyarakat Arab, seluruh dunia tetapi melalui Jazirah Arabia, dan seluruh masa, tapi melalui masa turunnya Al-Quran hanya 23 tahun. Maka di dalam Al-Quran itu ada visi, misi, pesan yang bersifat universal, tetapi ada juga pesan yang bersifat kontekstual. Jadi menyadari bahwa Islam itu punya pesan universal, lintas masa, dan ini harus dipegang teguh kapan saja, di mana saja menerapkan Islam. Misalnya adalah ajaran tentang takwa, kemanusiaan, keadilan, kelestarian alam, dan lain sebagainya. Tapi di dalam Islam juga ada ajaran yang bersifat kontekstual, seperti ajaran tentang perbudakan, peperangan, poligami, ayat waris, dan lain sebagainya, itu adalah bersifat kontekstual. Dan dalam menerapkan Islam dimanapun, kapanpun, tidak ada satu konteks sosial pun yang menjadi standar tunggal dalam penerapan Islam. Oleh karena itu, boleh selanjutnya, kita menggunakan 3 pendekatan yang tadi sudah disebutkan oleh Fakih. Satu adalah ma'ruf. Ma'ruf ini satu pendekatan yang berakar dari kata urf. Urf itu adalah tradisi. Jadi pendekatan ma'ruf ini penting sekali karena adanya kesadaran tentang perlunya melihat konteks khusus dalam penerapan ajaran Islam itu. Karenanya pesan-pesan universal di dalam Islam ketika diterapkan di masa dan tempat lain itu harus ada kesadaran untuk melihat konteks hari ini dan di sini, sehingga tidak menjadikan masyarakat Arab pada saat turunnya Al-Quran sebagai standar tunggal keislaman, kemaslahatan masyarakat Indonesia pada hari ini. Begitupun tidak menjadikan laki-laki sebagai standar tunggal kemaslahatan bagi perempuan. Boleh selanjutnya. Yang kedua adalah mubadalah. Pendekatan mubadalah ini mengingatkan kepada kita semua bahwa semua kebaikan, ajaran kebaikan yang ada di dalam Islam itu harus memastikan itu sampai pada perempuan. Apa yang dimaksudkan sebagai menjaga agama dalam maqasidus syariah itu adalah agamanya laki-laki dan perempuan. Menjaga jiwa itu adalah jiwa laki-laki dan perempuan. Karena itu membiarkan perempuan mati karena melahirkan itu adalah membiarkan, itu adalah pelanggaran pada hifdzun nafas atau menjaga jiwa. Karena jadi meskipun hanya perempuan yang bisa kehilangan nyawa karena melahirkan, tidak berarti itu dikecualikan. Hifdzul akli, akalnya laki-laki dan perempuan, sehingga perempuan tidak boleh diusir dari pendidikan, dari perguruan tinggi, dan seterusnya. Sekali lagi, mubadalah itu memastikan bahwa seluruh ajaran yang baik di dalam Islam itu adalah untuk laki-laki dan perempuan. Berikutnya adalah perspektif keadilan hakiki perempuan. Perspektif keadilan hakiki perempuan ini adalah satu perspektif yang memastikan bahwa laki-laki tidak menjadi standar tunggal kemaslahatan perempuan, karena perempuan dan laki-laki meskipun punya banyak persamaan pengalaman sebagai manusia, tapi ada setidaknya 2 pengalaman perempuan yang laki-laki sama sekali tidak mengalaminya, dan ini harus dipertimbangkan dalam merumuskan kemaslahatan. Disinilah nanti akan terlihat sekali mengapa fatwa KUPI itu hampir selalu berbeda dengan fatwa mainstream. Pertama adalah sistem reproduksi yang menyebabkan laki-laki dan perempuan punya pengalaman biologis yang berbeda. Dalam proses reproduksi, tubuh laki-laki itu hanya mengeluarkan sperma, durasinya menit bahkan detik, dan dampaknya nikmat. Sementara perempuan mengalami menstruasi mingguan, kehamilan bulanan, melahirkan jam-jaman harian, nifas mingguan, bulanan, bahkan bisa 60 hari, dan menyusui bayi bisa sampai 2 tahun. Dampak dari semua pengalaman biologis ini adalah sakit ada, kurhan melelahkan, bahkan wahnan ala wahnin, sakit di atas sakit. Apa artinya? Apa yang disebut kemaslahatan itu tidak boleh menyebabkan pengalaman biologis khas perempuan yang tidak dimiliki oleh laki-laki ini makin sakit, walaupun laki-laki tidak mengalaminya. Yang kedua adalah pengalaman sosial berkaitan dengan kerentanan perempuan untuk mengalami stigmatisasi, marginalisasi, subordinasi, kekerasan, dan double burden hanya karena menjadi perempuan. Laki-laki tidak mengalami bentuk kerentanan seperti ini karena kerentanan ini dialami oleh perempuan hanya karena jadi perempuan. Apa artinya? Apa yang disebut sebagai keadilan dan kemaslahatan termasuk dalam fatwa-fatwa itu tidak boleh mengandung kedoliman pada siapapun karena apapun, termasuk kedoliman pada perempuan hanya karena jadi perempuan. Maka seluruh fatwa KUPI itu akan atau telah diuji bahwa itu tidak akan membuat pengalaman biologis khas perempuan makin sakit dan tidak mengandung kerentanan pada perempuan hanya karena jadi perempuan. Boleh berikutnya, silahkan. Jadi Bapak Ibu sekalian, demikianlah cara atau sistem pengetahuan Islam yang dibangun oleh KUPI. Bapak Ibu bisa melihat dalam fatwa KUPI itu strukturnya, sumbernya adalah Al-Quran, hadis, pendapat ulama, dan konstitusi negara. Sementara struktur fatwanya terdiri dari deskripsi, kemudian adillah atau dalil-dalil, lalu kita punya analisis, lalu sikap dan pandangan keagamaan KUPI, lalu ada rekomendasi, ada referensi, bahkan ada lampiran. Jadi fatwa KUPI itu sangat tebal gitu. Boleh terakhir, mari kita lihat perbedaan mendasar contoh bagaimana fatwa KUPI itu berbeda sekali dengan pandangan umumnya di slide yang terakhir. Misalnya pertama, mohon maaf, tidak ada ya. Saya akan ceritakan saja. Satu, pada KUPI pertama kita menegaskan bahwa hukum melindungi anak dari perkawinan yang membahayakan adalah wajib. Yang kedua, hukum kekerasan seksual baik di dalam maupun di luar perkawinan itu adalah haram. Pada KUPI 2, saya akan berikan contoh 3 fatwa. Satu adalah hukum melindungi perempuan dari bahaya pemaksaan perkawinan adalah wajib. Sementara pandangan umum terhadap pemaksaan perkawinan itu pada perempuan itu dianggap boleh karena adanya hak ijbar yang disalahartikan. Yang kedua adalah hukum melindungi jiwa perempuan dari bahaya kehamilan akibat perkosaan adalah wajib. Pada umumnya orang melarang untuk menjaga jiwa perempuan dari bahaya karena kehamilan dengan cara aborsi misalnya. Tetapi tekanan dalam fatwa ini adalah perlindungan jiwa, sedangkan aborsi itu hanya salah satu cara. Kalau memang aman di usia berapapun, maka itu harus ditempuh. Kalaupun tidak aman secara kedokteran, maka keputusan untuk tidak mengaborsi juga tetap menjaga jiwa perempuan korban perkosaan yang hamil dan diharuskan melanjutkan kehamilannya. Yang terakhir, dan ini adalah yang paling kontroversial.
Ibu Nurul, mohon maaf, time
Sudah.
is out, so can you please conclude
baik.
very fast? Thank you so much. I'm
Ya,
so sorry.
Terima kasih. Saya minta maaf atas technical problem tadi. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih banyak. I'm really sorry to make you conclude really shortly, but because time is running and we have 6 other speakers, so thank you so much for sharing the methodologies, the perspective that are really in the core of this fatwa. And now, without waiting more, I would like to welcome very warmly Mama Shamsa Abu Bakar Fadil. She is the chair of Mombasa Women of Faith Network in Kenya. Mama Shamsa, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much
Can you
for
hear
being
me?
here. So, yes, very well, very clearly. Yes, just a little bit of words on your path. You really worked very hard as a passionate mediator and community mobilizer. Your groundbreaking efforts over the years have transformed hundreds of youth and women, not only from your home country of Mombasa, but nationwide. Your dedication, selfless service, and practical strategies towards peace building have endeared you to youth, women, and a variety of community-based organizations and NGOs operating at the coast region of Kenya. In 2014, you've created a grassroots organization dubbed Focus on Women and Youth in the Coast Province for Political Development. So you've had a very rich experience on the field, and your work has been, of course, recognized at many other occasions. And we had the pleasure to have you also last year during the Congress of Women Ulema. So I hope today the introduction, the video also on the fatwa, and the different documents that we've shared to you had given you even more emphasis and enlightenment on what is happening now in Indonesia. So could you please maybe give us a little bit of thoughts, share a little bit of your knowledge, expertise on your thoughts on this fatwa. So I would give you please 7 minutes, and I will have the tough and difficult job to cut you if it is too long. The floor is yours, and thank you so much for being here today. It is a great honor. Thank you, Mama Shamsa.
Yes. First, I would like to thank Aman and Ruby and various stakeholders, the German of Embassy, and everybody who made KUPI successful. This is a very interesting and impressive journey, especially for us as women. I will talk about the fatwa in an African perspective. What I'm hearing here today is very, very amazing. And from the different scriptures you've been sending me, actually what you are doing is what the global countries are doing. They are making resolutions on FGM. They are making resolutions on SGBV. They are making resolutions on environment. But as Indonesia, you have put women together, Islamic women together, to put a fatwa on the same things, so that we can fight it Islamically. Maybe it will have more force and we'll have more people join in fighting the retrogressive cultural practices which are affecting us as women. The main problem we are having here in Africa is the misconception of the word fatwa. You have managed to put it across all ulamas, all sheikhs, all muftis, the meaning of fatwa. In Africa, when you say the word fatwa, people think, and the texts think that you want to change the ruling of the Islamic Sharia, or Islamic want to change a hadith or fikri or a fiqh or how the Prophet lived. But what I've discovered today is fatwa uses fiqh, fatwa uses Islam law, fatwa uses how the Prophet lived his life, and the person who shouldered it down was the wife of the president of our prophet.
I think we've lost you. Mama Shamsa, are you still here?
Yes, I can hear you.
Now we can hear you again.
Can you hear me?
Try to? Yes, now we do. You may continue now. Thank you so much.
Okay. What I gathered here today, Fatwa is a ruling done by a recognized religious authority. It can even be women. And it is allowed Islamically. And this Fatwa comes when there is a process. You don't issue Fatwa when there is no process, which is affecting somebody as an individual or a community. And the reasons given here, the KUPI Fatwa, are known over the world. Actually, in my country, constitutionally, we are very right if we are ready to issue Fatwa based on the same lines as what KUPI is doing. Because constitutionally, FGM is not allowed. Violent extremism is not allowed. SGBV is a crime. But we've never thought of going it the women way. We always go it the activism way, either through CS of groups or we give radio talk shows. I think this is a fine thing, and I really appreciate, and I'm ready to work with KUPI to ensure Fatwa is brought to Africa Islamically, putting all heads together, including the sheikhs, the muftis, the religious institutions, so that we can speak the same language. We have religious leaders who support women feminism, who are against the regressive cultural practices. I think we have an opening start, and we are ready to go that way. Thank you very much. I think I've taken 5 minutes. I didn't want to take more than 5 minutes. Thank you.
You actually still have 3 or 4 minutes if you want to develop. It's still okay. Sorry, I might. If you still want to continue, it's okay. Thank you so much, Mama Shamsa. It was extremely interesting and enlightening, and I really recall from it that we have to speak the same language and work hand in hand all together toward this road. And I think you've really gave us an amazing and interesting views on what is happening in your cultural context, and hopefully we can exchange also later on. So please, if anyone has some question, you can write them or keep them aside, and then we will take it all during the question and answer session. And now, without waiting more, I will welcome Paul Salahuddin Armstrong. He is the Managing Director of the Association of British Muslim in the UK. He was actually an alumnus of the International Visitor Leadership Program and an associate of St. George House. And he has worked in a number of fields, including the media, diplomacy, Muslim marriage services, interfaith human rights policy, countering also extremism. So can you hear me well?
Yes.
Paul?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you so much for being here today. So I will also give you maybe 7 minutes to give a bit of your knowledge, of your insights on the fatwas, and also by talking about these fatwas regarding your context in the UK and maybe in Europe in general. Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you for welcoming me. Yes, I remember I came to the KUPI conference last year, and it was incredibly inspirational. For myself, the way that you approach fatwa in Indonesia, I see it as a much more legitimate and effective way of Islamic jurisprudence, and it is one which is of the times. You see, a lot of people, they read old books such as Ihya Ulumuddin by Imam al-Ghazali. Now, I mean, this is a great book. It's an amazing piece of work of its time. What people don't realize is sheikhs like Imam al-Ghazali were using scientific knowledge and the humanities knowledge of their times. Now, that's great if we understand that, because we can contextualize it and realize that we have to do the same thing in the 21st century. We have to see what has changed in the sciences and in the social sciences since the time of people like Imam al-Ghazali, then we can still refer to their works and say, okay, these things, they still make sense, these things are still useful, but there's a lot we've learned since then, a lot we understand now that people didn't understand so well then. And even this comes from something the Prophet Muhammad said in his final sermon. He said to take his words to other people and to future generations, that maybe someone will understand them better, or some people will understand them better than what you, i.e. the Sahaba, understand today. So, I mean, this is actually following a teaching of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And, you know, science and the social science, the humanities are things which are always developing. New research is happening all the time. I'm speaking to you right now from the University of Cambridge, because I'm here for an event at the Wolf Institute. And, you know, again, this is a prestigious university, so also like the one I work at the University of Birmingham, which is doing amazing research. And, you know, in so many different areas. Now, I mean, when we look at the issue of jurisprudence, as the previous speaker said, you know, and as was highlighted in the conference I attended last year, that a lot of the jurisprudence over the centuries has been made by men. Now, some of that is useful, but some of that, if it is referring to issues which are specifically about women, it seems a bit odd if it is men who are making the rules, setting the guidelines, and it's not fair and it's not right, because there are certain things that a woman will understand better than a man. And, you know, this is especially true when it comes to certain things that women experience as women that I will never experience as a man. I will never become pregnant. You know, I will never have a menstrual cycle, because I'm a man. I will have other things which a woman might not understand, which is why men and women should communicate with each other and discuss and try to understand. Listen, most importantly. But there are certain things that women experience that are more particular to women. And women should therefore be involved in the jurisprudence when it affects or involves those issues. Whether it's to do with pregnancy, whether it's to do with families, whether it's to do with a menstrual cycle, whether it is to do with even other things. Because nowadays, modern science has realized that there are certain things, or certain, not necessarily science as such, but, you know, women have certain capacities and men have certain capacities, that there's a tendency that some women might be better at certain things than men generally are. And some men might be better at certain things than some women generally are. We understand this now. So it's important to involve women in those things. I mean, this is why you tend to see a lot of women are teachers. A lot of women are involved in, you know, where they're given the opportunity and they excel in certain fields. A lot of women make great scientists. You know, as the doors open to the sciences to allow women to do this, a lot of women excel. I see it in my own community here in the UK among Muslims, that when the doors were opened and women were allowed to go to university, a lot of Muslim women did exceptionally well academically. And they are actually further ahead in these fields than the men. So it's like, if women have these capacities and abilities, then we should involve them. We shouldn't just restrict the, you know, the decision making or the understanding or the study to men. It just does not make sense. And obviously, you know, I go completely that way and ignore the fact that there are very talented men as well. There needs to be a balance. And, you know, a society is made up of both men and women, and we are equal, but we're also unique. And we have to have respect and understanding for each other. And the society, a healthy society, is built upon that balance. And as the Prophet Muhammad himself taught, that the best of you are how those who best treat women. So it's important for men to understand that the best of us, if we are aiming to be good men, if we're aiming to be good Muslims, we have to treat women well and make sure that women are happy and comfortable and able to be successful within society. And I absolutely support that. I'm extremely supportive of what KUPI is doing. And I hope that this expands beyond Indonesia and that we adopt, some of KUPI's ideas or all of KUPI's ideas maybe here in the UK as well. I know it's not mainstream yet, but I really do believe that these fatwa and this approach should be mainstreamed. It's really important. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, Paul, for giving us light on actually how in Indonesia the approach of fatwa is different and how we have to go further from just the textual tradition, but also get inspired on the social reality and all the phenomena that are occurring. Thank you so much for this really great contribution. And now, without waiting more, we will welcome Abir Haji Ibrahim from Syria. Can you hear me well?
Yes, hello.
Thank you so much for being here. You are the co-founder of Mubadirun Peace Building Network, and you started this during the Syrian conflict from 2012, where you develop new area of experiences, including the building bridges, conflict resolution and mediation strength as a response to the local needs in Syria. So you became a peace building facilitator, and you've had the opportunity to manage the Peace Ambassador program, where you were trained and plan and work with 240 potential peace ambassador to prevent sectarianism and also to really work for peace in this specific context. So I would invite you, please, to give us your thoughts, your reaction on this fatwa, and also maybe some reflection on how we can disseminate this fatwa more on this context. Thank you so much for being here today, Abir.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for hosting me. I was also one of the privileged people who attended the KUPI conference 2022. I was actually so honored and surprised and have like lots of deep insights about when I attended the conference for several reasons. One of them is our context in the Middle East as it is. You know, the Middle East problems and conflict are something that's coming on an ongoing conflict. We have Syria conflict, we have the Iraqi disabilities to be functioning in a good way. We have so many conflicts in the area. I will not mention them now. But in the middle of this conflict, we have two strange issues came up. So there was the revolution where people are asking for the freedom of speech and the freedom of religious, and how they can have like a democratic country where we have two main parties, the non-believers and the believers. The believers who are also wants to have like a credit for their beliefs, the freedom of speech, and they want to continue to have like their religious habits, praying, salah, siyam, zakah, whatever. And then we have the non-believers. During the conflict, the non-believers have advocated against the religious aspects, especially the Islam, that the Islam is the issue which led the country to have like a huge violence, because the Islam is a violence religious, because the Islam is discrimination, women rights, it has lots of problems, and there was like lots of issues were advocated against the religious itself. In the middle of the conflict, you cannot step backwards and think and have like a kind of thinking process where you can bring more alibis from the Quran and the Sunnis saying that this kind of advocating against our religions are not true. Yes, we have like a poverty in the country, and the poverty and the conflict itself, it's create violence, and it's a domestic violence, either you were like in a stable condition or not. It's happening everywhere, even in the first world countries. So we have the issue of who's going to defend our religions in a way related by evidence. And this is what I've been like looking for during my peace building works. And I found it only with the KUPI's seminars, that there is a group of people, women mainly, are thinking about the issues we are facing even in the Middle East. Even we are like an Arabic speakers countries, and we have the language of Quran. We did not have the time, the context, and the supporting environment, who you have it in Indonesia, from the government and from the religious leader, to start thinking. And you know, in Islam, in Quran, we have لعلهم يتفكرون. لعلهم يتفكرون. So it's always how we think about giving more evidence about the non-violence action in Islam and all the major issue, which is protecting women rights, actually. We have the 5 fatwas. I've been reading them from 2 days ago until now. The ones who is like striking me is the violence. You know that during the conflict, there's the Western and the external wave of SGPV, which was like taken by the local community as external factors. But if we replace the SGPV with the fatwa of stopping the violence against women, the community will have it, because it's related to its culture and it's related to its religious, and it's not like a Western sexy word about SGBV, you know? So this is how we feel that we need to work together. If we are so busy in doing armed conflict and killing each other somehow for several reasons, at least we could get the Indonesian experience mainstreamed in the area. And I'm happy to have a huge collaboration between the women Islamic leaders in the Middle East, Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, Jordan, with the Indonesian Alame woman-led, and to see how this could mainstream. Frankly speaking, there will be a lots of people going against that for several reasons. One of the main reasons are it's a women-led initiative, unfortunately. And then it will go about the power sharing and how the people in power are taking the religious and misinterpretation its content, so they will gain more power in the community. So there will be a lots of obstacles all the way, but I think we have to start somehow.
Bismillah. Thank you so much for this really inspiring and yes, I think we have to start, as you said, start working together, start building bridges and learning from different experiences, even if, as you mentioned, the context in the Middle East now is not the same as in Indonesia, but Indonesia also in the history had some conflict and still having some conflict and difficult moments of history. So that's why I think we have to learn from the experience from the difficult time in order to start sharing practices, sharing this transformative justice. So thank you so much for sharing this. And it's true, it really struck me also the one on violence. It was a fatwa that really was inspiring, but also that raised a lot of question when I was reading and thinking about them. So inshallah, when we will be at the question and answer session, we can continue to discuss about this and the other fatwa also. So now I will welcome Hamsatu Alamin. Can you hear me, Hamsatu?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, very well. Thank you so much for being here with us today. You are the founder and executive director of Alamin Foundation for Peace and Development, Maiduguri. I hope I pronounce it well, in Nigeria. Thank you so much for being here today. You were also with us as the other speakers during the Congress. It's so great to see you again. You you are the founder of this organization, but you also work as an educator, a freelancer writer, a gender activist, a human rights defenders, and peacemaker. So what can you not do, mashallah? So thank you so much for being here today. We will put all of the laureate and prizes that you got to in the chat box, so people can also get more inspiration from your work and activism. Would you please also share with us your insight, your thoughts about this fatwa and your experience, Hamzatu?
You get it keeps cutting.
Now we can hear you well, Mama.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. AMAN Indonesia, members of KUPI, the German embassy in Indonesia, and all our brothers and sisters who are connected to this forum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. In fact, I was privileged to physically be in Indonesia last year to be part of the attending and then listen keenly to some of these fatwas and then the processes, and even contributed to some. It is heartwarming to know that this has been finalized, and today KUPI and AMAN are disseminating it globally. Nigeria is a multicultural, multi-religious, multi-ethnic society. And even in northern Nigeria, where the Muslim population is very, very significant, it is a conservative Islam that is practiced. So much so that, in fact, current and emerging issues, particularly that are emerging from the complex context of northeastern Nigeria, that is the Boko Haram insurgency that we are living with, hardly have a space in social discourse. What are the issues I'm talking about? We are now in the 14 years of violent conflicts. The issue of women that affect women and girls, particularly women and young women and girls who are wives or mothers of victims of enforced disappearances, the victims of mass abduction and sexual slavery by both sides of the conflict, then the issues of the invisible, what I call the invisible children, who in fact popularly are known as the illegitimate children who were conceived and born while their mothers are either in detention or in captivity. And then the issue of the victims of early marriage of the larger society is not even the early marriage that we have concern with, but the early divorce that comes with the early marriage. A girl between the age of 10 to 11 is married. Before she reaches the age of 16, she may have been divorced with one child, her education has been truncated, and the whole society, including even her family, now regard her as an adult simply because she has gone through marriage, hence she is to go and fend and cater for herself. And then lastly, the issue of violent extremism as it affects our fellow women, where in fact the extremists to women and girls who the society generally seems as harmless and then low risk, eventually in the course of our interaction, we discovered that they are equally radicalized, very dangerous, if not even more dangerous than the men themselves, where young women and then women of reproductive age can tell you they can kill with all kinds of weapons. They have slaughtered, they have leaked the human blood and other atrocities that can be even equated to crimes against humanity. So these are the contexts we are living in. But in all this, because of the cultural and then people may want to label it religious, but actually it's not religious. It is our culture and tradition, where in fact women are not given much significance to the extent that even within the family, men and the women are not communicating. Young people, boys and girls, do not have a space, even if it is in matters that affect them within the society. So much so that, in fact, such issues that I just mentioned to you, you will never hear them being mentioned. And people like us who talk about it are sometimes even despised. Why should we be talking about? People label it sensitive. Sometimes they term it even nasty. But these are the situations we are living with. But as a Muslim woman, honestly, when I came and then attended the Indonesian forum, where I saw fellow women as Muslim scholars, academics, and others vibrantly together with their men discussing issues and then coming up with resolutions and then issues affecting their people, I was so encouraged. Then, honestly, I just felt inspired and said that, honestly, I already have a process in place. And what are these processes in place? Is I see no scholar, no people in leadership, not to talk of discourses within the legislature and then the executive talking about the issues that I am telling you now. Then I said, as a small organization and then a Muslim woman in a community who has benefited from the public funds, education, and others, this is a period of giving back. So now I said, I looked at generally, in fact, what captured my attention in Indonesia is about the protection. All that entails within the fatwas of the KUPI are all about protection of women, protection against violence, from environmental degradation, from female mutilation, from exclusion, is all about protection and then promotion. So in my own context, I said, where shall I start this protection as a person without any mandate, without any resources, without any power? So I said, the only thing we can do is to mobilize fellow women. And then I started, in fact, I have already even started before I went. So I now strengthen it, our creation of the several networks of vulnerable and then vulnerable women and girls. And these are social support networks, where I have a network of big mothers of victims of disappearances, and then that of the wives of victims of disappearance, then wives, network of survivors of the abduction and sexual slavery, the network of the invisible children, the network of early marriages, then another network of the radicalized women themselves. So with this network, what do I do? In fact, the recommendation in KUPI's Fatwa is about opening up on your problems and issues and develop diverse partnerships. So in this case, we are enshrined in a culture of silence. So therefore, to this social network, we create a platform, provided them a platform where, in fact, all of them in different categories will now come together, and then we will give them capacity, skills, and then empower them so that, in fact, their voice and amplify their voices, in fact, and then encourage them. We lead them, in fact, in observance of international commemorative days, teaching them the Islamic perspectives of how women can come together and then support one another and then build alliances and partnership and come up with a women network. As I am speaking to you, in fact, we have registered over 23,000 women in these different kind of networks who, in fact, we put in front. In fact, and then as the extremists also started coming back from their enclaves, we said, okay, how can we do? In fact, it pains me to learn that my fellow women have committed all these atrocities, and then to the extent of leaking human blood and others. Then what do we do in our own space to counter this, even if authorities are yet to wake up to the reality of the situation? I said we have to start what I call the community-based de-radicalization, where we made alliance with the progressive Islamic scholars. Since this indoctrination and radicalization is Islamic, and these women consider the bloodletting, the blood taking, and then killings and all the atrocities are part of religion, Then we said the only thing we can do to save these women, their children, and our larger society is to come up and counter it religiously. So we engage them one-on-one, we engage them in group sessions to understand what is their own perception of the doctrines in the Quran and Hadith that gave them that right and permission to feel that what they are doing is right. And gradually we take them ayah to ayah and then hear from them, and then we come up with the real interpretations. And gradually, by interacting with them for several weeks, at the end of the day, we have to push them to the brink that anyway, to let them understand and then start showing remorse that really they have been misled. What they have been taught and what they have been going through is wrong, to the extent that some of these radicalized women have now even gone back to the forest itself and then persuaded their husbands and other men to come back. As I am talking to you, about 160 of such armed fighters in the bush have returned back to the communities, leaving us with an overwhelming situation of radicalized people whose radical tendencies and ideas in their hands have to be changed. So in the same vein also, we now with our Women Alliance for Security Leadership under ICANN, where Abir is a member, we now have what we call Women Peace Builders Network. She builds peace. So in my own context, I brought about the umbrella bodies of women faith NGOs, both Muslims and Christians, because the Boko Haram insurgency has created a greater divide and mistrust between Christians and Muslims. So who else can do this better but us Muslims? Because we have been taught in our religion how we were all created as a single soul by Allah, just to understand one another, and then that there is no compulsion in religion as sons of Adam and Eve. So we brought the Christians, and then together, all of them, Muslim women and Christian women, about 10 organizations. Now among us, we enlighten them, bring the Christian perspective, the Muslim perspectives, and then open up to our current situation to really understand that is it not when we die that Allah will put us in either heaven or hell? So why should we fight and then divide ourselves and then tear ourselves in this world?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mama.
My time is
I am
up already.
so sorry. Yes, it's a bit over time, but thank you.
Yeah,
for
thank
this
you very
great
much. In fact, I can keep
really
talking and talking because thank you very much, moderator.
But we want to hear you more and more. Thank you so much, Mama Hamsatu, for really emphasizing on the protection of women, on how to give a platform for them to build capacity, skill, and empower the voices. So because we are a bit late on the schedule, I am so sorry to cut you once again, Mama Hamsatu. Thank you so much. We will go directly to Imam Bukuru Eli, who is the Global Director of Imam for She, Alliance of Inclusive Muslim in Burundi. Can you hear me?
Imam
Hello?
is having a trouble for Zoom. Maybe Ibu Rosana first.
Yes, then we welcome Ibu Rosana, who is the Executive Director of Sister in Islam. We will put also her biography in the chat so you can read it and learn from it. Can you hear me, Ibu Rosana?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfectly. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so much to KUPI and AMAN Indonesia for having me. Assalamualaikum to everyone. I'm very, very honored to be invited to speak here. The Maghrib Azan is just going on right now. But anyway, what I really would like to reflect on in terms of the KUPI fatwa is really in terms of how it gives recognition to the constitutionality of the country, of the state. I think this is something that we cannot overlook because right now, all over the world and specifically in Malaysia, there is a struggle. The struggle to claim Malaysia as an Islamic state by the rewriting of the constitution in terms of its meaning. And I cannot underscore the importance of what Kiai Fakihuddin had said earlier, that the constitution is the highest law of the land, and this goes back to the idea and notion that we do need a framework that speaks to all of the citizens in the country. And therefore, fatwas in itself, can be an uplifting guidance for Muslims, and yet, recognition of the fact that it must fall within the framework of the constitutions that we have in our country is actually very important and critical, because the whole idea is that the constitution does give a legal framework of protection, of upholding rights. And in recognition to some of the fatwas that have been issued by KUPI, for example, protection against sexual violence, whether within or out of marriage, on the issue of female circumcision or female genital mutilation, I think the way KUPI has developed all of this bears in mind primarily the issue of protection of women and girls. And what it does is really to unpack, the kinds of practices that are going on, and by renaming and making it specific that where female genital mutilation is concerned, the words, for example, female circumcision can be very, very vague. And what KUPI has done is really to rename it and to make it specific to the action of cutting and or harming the female genitalia. And it also still, puts it in a context of a condition until and unless there is a medical reason to do so. And I think these perspectives are very, very important, giving more specific protections to what these actions are being done. Because right now we are continuing certain traditions only because we've only known those traditions, and yet we're not interrogating them. And by KUPI actually unpacking and renaming those acts for what they really are, I think we can look at those actions in very specific ways in terms of how they actually bring harm to women and girls, and making the case for us to stop those practices. I don't want to go on much longer. I realize that it's very late. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone in KUPI for making this process very inclusive, for recognizing the various experiences of the women's and children's lived realities. And we really look forward to, spreading the good work of KUPI, and as an institution, as a movement, as an idea. KUPI's existence is really important and critical, especially in terms of giving and recognizing that space for women to be a part of decision making where religious matters are concerned. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ibu Rosana. Thank you for really reminding us on the importance of interrogating tradition and really asking ourselves, how does it harm? How action, how tradition, how practices can harm from different angles of perspective, from the Quran, from the Hadith, from the tradition, and build new narratives inspired from the lived reality of women, and to build some strategies in order to stop it. I think it's really important to remind this. And now I will welcome our last speaker. Is Imam here now? Still, I think not. Okay. Then we will open the question and answer session. I write in the chat box if some people had some question, but if not, you can also ask directly. So we will, because time is quite limited, maybe take 3 questions. Would you please tell me your question and also tell me to whom it is addressed for a more conveniency, please. So I think it is always difficult to start the first question. So maybe I will start with a question. Oh, we have someone, please, who is speaking with us? No, I think it was just okay. So maybe because with the different speakers going from the presentation of the fatwa to the introduction of the methodology and the different expertise from different regions of the world, I think something that was really much emphasized today is on how to bridge the knowledge, how to bridge the expertise, the knowledge, and how to also make a KUPI's networks, KUPI's knowledge building being able to be bridged on some other parts of the world and some other communities being able to learn from these practices. So of course, today we have the huge chance to be able to share, but I was maybe wondering on how we can also make this fatwa understandable in different contexts. So maybe I can address this question to Mama Hamsatu. So maybe according to you, how is it possible to make these fatwas knowledge that has been actually constituted in the very particular context of Indonesia, how is it possible to make it understandable to the women's community in your context? Maybe can you share a little bit on this?
Thank you. Thank you very much. In fact, I have even marked something for that, but time could not allow me say it during the plenary. So in fact, it is very interesting, and then all of them resonate with the kind of challenges we have here, and then the solutions also are really relevant to the kind of issues we are dealing with. So what I decided here, in my context, I said we already have a process because we have built the networks, we have built the partnerships with men Islamic scholars as well as women faith-based organizations. What I intend to do here is, with the permission of KUPI, AMAN, if it is still now okay for public sharing, this fatwa can now become, in fact, a tool for advocacy for us. We are all Muslims suffering the same situations and then living, although the context may be different, but then the problems are somehow the same. So therefore, what I intend to do is I will adopt my teaching peace approach, where we developed the Boko Haram Manual of Peace Education with Islamic scholars. So this time around, this fatwa has been developed and resolved and issued. So therefore, we will now use our same committee of Islamic scholars first to please go through and have a look what our sisters and brothers in Indonesia have come up with over this situation that all of us are living in. Then we hear their views, and then with them now together, now we start to amplify it further. And then now, how, in fact, eventually, if this small committee now okays it, in fact, I will keep keenly in contact with AMAN in case there are any challenges and others, so that I will be referring back to them, so that once it is okayed, then what I intend to do is now take it to the radio house itself, media houses, because we have another forum where we have created a network of media forum on transitional justice. So that media forum now in the media forum, we will use the electronic media, in particularly radio, where each and everybody listens to, and then take these issues one by one, and then discuss it. These are what our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters in Indonesia have come up with, so that the community will now be asking questions, will now be making contributions where they feel comfortable to it. So we feel this is the easiest way now to reach it to the policy, as well as even legislature, and then as well as the general public, using the media and then using it as an advocacy tool also. And then that notwithstanding, we have an association of Islamic students, of Islamic schools, and then there is also a new board created by the government, Sangaya and Islamic Education Board. So this board also, I am going to take copies of this fatwa to this Sangaya and Islamic Board, as well as the Association of Islamic Schools Practitioners. So also where young people are being taught, and then the policy body at the state that had been created recently get their views, and then if we get their buy-in, I think that is how I intend to disseminate and then popularize it in northeastern Nigeria and eventually greater Nigeria.
Thank you so much for sharing this knowledge. It is extremely interesting. Thank you so much, Mama Hamsatu. I will give the speech maybe to Mama Shamsa that is raising her hand. Do you want to react or maybe answer the other question in the chat box? You can please share. Thank you so much, Mama Shamsa.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. And I would really like to appreciate my sister from Nigeria, because I know she's living under very difficult circumstances, and it is courageous of her to do whatever she is doing. I would also like to add that in Kenya, we already have a network of Interreligious Council of Kenya, where we have 11 religious institutions. And as women, we have our own chapters. We have the overall body, which is the Kenya Women of Faith Network. I'm only the chair of a county called Mombasa in Kenya, and I'm in charge of the Women of Faith Network. And we have already also come up with a resolution on FGM and early childhood, where we have our male champions. Now, from what I'm seeing with the fatwa, these are resolutions. These are Islamic resolutions, and Islamic resolutions can be made by Muslim women. It's only a matter of cascading them down deeper to the locals, and at least give it a visible stage, so that the whole country knows what the women of faith are doing and what they want. We will be only emphasizing on the global resolutions which are being made, the constitutional laws and policies which are there. We'll be enforcing them Islamically, which is a good thing. And actually, it will be more good because all Christians, not all Christians, all religious institutions do not accept a woman to be, the mouth to be closed, actually. That much I can say that. We have our spaces as women, and we have to talk out, and they have to listen to us. We are the backbone of the families. Whatever atrocities going on, we are affected 10 times more than the male. So it is our time to talk about it. It is our time to come out, and KUPI has led the trend. It is for us to follow in the footsteps of KUPI and working in collaboration with KUPI to know how fast they reach there, so that we can keep the pace. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mama Shamsa. I'm clapping from here. Thank you so much for all this inspiration, bright for us, dua for us, and yes, we should speak and speak more loudly. Thank you so much. Because time is really limited, I would now give back the end of the ceremony, and maybe we can have some amazing closing remark given by Pakai Muhammad Hussein. So maybe Mbak Neni, can you hear me? And maybe take back the talk. Thank you so much.
Okay. Should we proceed to take the picture? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Was I captured?
Oh, yeah.
I was captured,
What?
eh?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So
Thank
we
you.
have Ibu Rosana. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Where is Ibu Abir? Okay.
Thank you.
Mbak Nini, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think Pak Rofran
yeah.
asked me to, yeah.
Okay. We have
Thank you so much.
complete. Okay, one more. Please give the very beautiful smile here. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Perfect.
Okay, I think the group photo session of the moderator and also speakers will close this plenary session. And thank you very much, Samia, for modernization in respective ways, and also all of the speakers for share your thought, your opinion, and also your reflection and some of the way forward for the next. And ladies and gentlemen, we are reaching the end of the session. Last but not least, we will listen to the closing remarks that will be delivered by Dr. Kiai Haj Buya Hussein Muhammad, head of Advisory Board of KUPI. Buya Hussein is one of the prominent figures actively advocating messages of gender equality in Islam. He served as the chairman of Fahmina Foundation and the head of Jar Al-Fikr Islamic Boarding School in Cirebon. Please welcome Buya Hussein.
Terima kasih. Terima kasih ya. Aduh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa. Wassalamun ala ibadihi alladhina astafa wa ba'd. Atas nama Dewan Pertimbangan KUPI, saya Hussein Muhammad ingin menyampaikan rasa syukur dan bahagia atas terselenggaranya acara sosialisasi atau disseminasi fatwa dan rekomendasi KUPI ini. Terima kasih yang sebesar-besarnya kepada teman-teman para sahabat-sahabat baik dari Nusantara maupun dari mancanegara yang telah hadir dan mengikuti acara ini. Saya mendengar tetapi belum paham. Oke, terima kasih. Kemudian saya ingin menyampaikan rasa bahagia, bangga sekali bahwa fatwa-fatwa KUPI, baik yang pertama di Cirebon maupun yang kedua di Semarang dan di tempat yang lain itu telah memberikan sumbangan yang penting dan berharga bagi reformasi dan perbaikan hukum di negeri ini, di Indonesia ini khususnya. Dan hal yang paling indah, paling dan bersejarah dalam pandangan saya adalah bahwa dua fatwa KUPI telah diadopsi menjadi ketetapan di dalam Undang-Undang Negara Republik Indonesia ini. Pertama adalah tentang peningkatan usia nikah perempuan dari semula 16 tahun menjadi 19 tahun. Yang kedua adalah Undang-Undang TPKS. Keduanya telah disahkan menjadi undang-undang. Dan mudah-mudahan fatwa KUPI tentang P2GP atau FGM segera diundangkan. Demikian juga produk fatwa-fatwa KUPI yang lain. Teman-teman sekalian, mengapa saya merasa bahwa produk KUPI, fatwa KUPI telah diundangkan minimal 2 tadi? Karena di dalam kaedah hukum Islam. Al-fatwa ghairu mulzim. Jadi fatwa tidak mengikat. Ini masih memerlukan sebuah cara lain agar fatwa menjadi atau produk fatwa itu menjadi mengikat dan tidak lagi menjadi problem kontroversial. Maka undang-undang dinyatakan sebagai mengikat dan menghilangkan perbedaan. Kaidah fikihnya mengatakan hukmul qadhi atau hukmul hakim ilzamun wa yarfa'ul khilaf. Oke, itulah bahagia saya. Mudah-mudahan ke depan produk-produk KUPI akan menjadi sebuah keputusan negara, menjadi undang-undang. Teman-teman sekalian, pada akhirnya saya ingin menyampaikan 7 pesan, 7 quotes. Satu, saya ingin mengutip pandangan Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi yang sangat indah sekali. Dia mengatakan innamal mar'atu min nurillah wa hiya laysat mujarrada habibatin bal hatta makhluqah bal hiya khallaqah. Perempuan adalah diciptakan dari cahaya Tuhan. Ia bukan sekedar kekasih, bukan juga sekedar makhluk yang diciptakan oleh Tuhan, tetapi perempuan adalah kreator. Begitu. Kedua, perempuan adalah sumber dan fondasi peradaban. Seorang feminis, saya lupa namanya, dari Mesir mungkin, taqaddumun nisa sirru taqaddimil umam. Kemajuan perempuan adalah faktor kemajuan bangsa. Menjadi faktor yang menentukan bagi kemajuan bangsa. Penyair Nil yang saya selalu hafal, Hafidz Ibrahim, mengatakan dengan indah, al-ummu madrasatun idza a'adattaha a'adatta sya'ban tayyibal a'raq. Al-ummu raudun in ta'ahadahul hayat birrayyi aw raqa ayyama iraqi. Al-ummu ustadul asatidatil ula syaghalat ma'asiruhum madal afaqi. Ibu adalah madrasah pertama. Bila kau mempersiapkannya dengan baik, kau mempersiapkan bangsa yang baik. Ibu adalah taman. Bila engkau merawatnya dengan air bening dan ia akan menumbuhkan pohon-pohon dan dirawat dengan baik. Ia akan menumbuhkan pohon-pohon dengan daun-daun yang merindang dan buah-buah yang ranum. Ibu adalah maha guru. Jejak langkahnya terpatri sepanjang zaman. Begitu. Tiga. Quote ketiga. Filsuf Muslim terkenal, Abu Bakar Ar-Razi atau Razes, mengatakan, Annal amral afdal alladhi khuliqna walladhi ujriya bina laysa hiya isabatul ladzatil jasadiyah bal iqtina'ul ilmi wasti'malul adl alladaini bihima khalasuna an alamina hada ilal alamil ladzi la mauta fihi wala alam. Tujuan tertinggi untuk apa kita diciptakan dan kemana kita diarahkan bukanlah untuk memperoleh kegembiraan hasrat-hasrat fisik, tetapi pencapaian ilmu pengetahuan dan mempraktikkan keadilan. Dua tugas ini adalah satu-satunya cara kita melepaskan diri kita dari realitas dunia hari ini menuju sebuah dunia yang di dalamnya tak ada lagi kematian dan penderitaan. Yang keempat, saya ingin menyampaikan, jangan berhenti melangkah untuk terus berjuang mewujudkan cita-cita agama, semua agama, yaitu kesetaraan manusia dan sistem kehidupan yang berkeadilan. Al-Quran telah lama menyampaikan, ya ayyuhalladzina amanu kunu qawwamina syuhada'a bil qawwamina lillahi syuhada'a bil qist wa la yajrimannakum syana'an qaumin ala alla ta'dilu i'dilu huwa aqrabu lit taqwa wattaqullaha innallaha khabirum bima ta'malun. Wahai orang-orang yang beriman, jadilah kalian orang-orang yang selalu menegakkan kebenaran karena Allah dan menerapkan keadilan dengan tulus ikhlas. Janganlah kebencianmu terhadap siapapun, apapun, membuat kamu bertindak tidak adil. Bertindaklah dengan adil. Karena itu berarti bentuk ketakwaan kita kepada Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Bertakwalah. Sesungguhnya Allah Maha mengetahui apa yang kita lakukan. 5. Amin Al-Khuli, seorang mufassir besar, mufassir sastra besar Mesir, mengatakan, tu'addul fikratu hinamma kafiratan tuhramu wa tuharabu summa tasbahu ma'a mururiz zaman madhaban bal aqidatan wa islahan takhtu bihil hayat khutwatan ilal aman. Pada suatu saat sebuah pemikiran boleh jadi dianggap sebagai kekafiran, diharamkan, dan diperangi. Tetapi seiring dengan bergerak zaman, pemikiran itu akan bisa menjadi madhab, akan menjadi satu aliran pemikiran madhab, keyakinan dominan, dan gagasan perbaikan, sejalan dengan dinamika kehidupan yang terus bergerak ke depan. Yang keenam, saya akan menyampaikan the golden rule untuk mewakili teman-teman yang tadi bicara ya. Oke, Nurrabika dan sebagainya. Amilin nasa bima tuhibbu ayyu amiluka wala tu'amilin nasa bima la tuhibbu ayyu amiluka. Perlakukan orang lain sebagaimana kau ingin diperlakukan. Dan janganlah kau perlakukan orang lain dengan cara-cara yang kau sendiri tidak ingin orang lain memperlakukannya kepada kamu. Saya kira hadis Nabi sudah jelas sekali. Ahibba li akhika wa fi riwayatin ahibba lin nasi kama tuhibbu li nafsi. Begitu ya. Terakhir, nah, membagikan cahaya. Mata awqatta syam'atan fala taqif nadhiran ilaiha fahasbu. Alaika an ta'tiya bihi ila makanin yahtaju ilaiha. Yahtaju ila daw'ihi. Mata awqatta syam'atan fala taqif nadhiran ilaiha fahasbu. Alaika an ta'tiya biha ila makanin yahtaju ila daw'iha. Bila lilin telah kau nyalakan, janganlah berhenti memandanginya saja. Bawalah ia ke tempat lain yang membutuhkan cahaya. Terima kasih, mohon maaf. Selamat jalan. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shukran kathiran, and thank you very much, Buya Hussein, for your wonderful closing remarks and highlighting the contribution of KUPI, Fatwa and Recommendation in the context of law and also policy reform in Indonesia for the better life of women. And ladies and gentlemen, now we are really reaching the end of the session. On behalf of the organizers, I would like to express our sincere gratitude for your presence and also for your participation today. And we also extend our gratitude to all of the speakers and our gorgeous moderators for your contribution and for all of your thought in the discussion. And ladies and gentlemen, then I would like to requote what we said before. When you light a candle, don't just stand there looking at it. Carry it to another place that needs light. And this webinar actually recorded, and you may rewatch and also reshare to your connection this recording webinar that can be accessed in YouTube official account of AMAN Indonesia. And the last I say, wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq, ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good evening from Jakarta, and I'll see you again. Thank you.
Kongres Ulama Perempuan Indonesia, gerakan intelektual dan kultural, juga sosial dan spiritual. Ulama perempuan yang handal. Kongres Ulama Perempuan Indonesia, tegaskan eksistensi dan jati diri, kuatkan peran paling hakiki. Ulama perempuan sejati. Keislaman, kebangsaan dan kemanusiaan. Misi KUPI yang diteguhkan, ciptakan keadilan dan kehidupan berkeadaban bagi semua insan. Kongres Ulama Perempuan Indonesia, wujudkan kesetaraan, kesalingan bagi laki-laki dan perempuan, dan kedamaian seluruh alam. Keislaman, kebangsaan dan kemanusiaan. Misi KUPI yang diteguhkan, ciptakan keadilan dan kehidupan berkeadaban bagi semua insan. KUPI berjuang dan berkhidmat, mengemban mandat Maharahmat. Jadi khalifah bermartabat, hadirkan hidup yang maslahat. Keislaman, kebangsaan dan kemanusiaan. Misi KUPI yang diteguhkan, ciptakan keadilan dan kehidupan berkeadaban bagi semua insan.
Recording stopped.
Yeah, again, thank you everyone. Thank you, Samia, and also all of the committee.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
from
You did an
DCM.
amazing job. Terima
You
kasih banyak,
also
Mbak.
you also moderate in respectful.
I think it was a really amazing session. We learned so much and it's so inspiring and giving so much energy. So thank you everyone for this huge work to make this happen, and especially online. I think it's so challenging, but you're all mantap banget.